Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another episode of The Watch with me, your host, Jean-Luc Quartet. Make some noise, clapping up, get excited wherever you are. We're back, we're here, we're live with another action-packed show for you to cover in the world of boxing and beyond on this very eventful day of news, action, and outright shock and awe as we got announcements of one of the greatest of all time officially calling it quits in the likes of Terence Crawford announcing his retirement yesterday. Also, we got again Jake Paul raising Joshua is indeed tomorrow, as well as a bunch of other things surrounding the world of boxing and beyond that we will indeed be covering. It is a very, everybody's kind of shook up a little bit by what happened with Terence Crawford in this whole situation of him leaving the sport seemingly at the highest of highs when the world was in front of him. Why did he make this decision? What was the reason for it? Is it going to stick? Will it not? All that and more we're going to discuss right here on the show. We appreciate all of you tuning in and listening. If you're new here, hey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on, be a part of this empire. Be sure to join the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform. Be a part of this community. Be sure to leave a like on the video as it helps the algorithm immensely to go through and push this to everybody all around the world. Also, be sure to keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions in the chat down below. We want to hear your voice as part of the conversation. We want to see you and have your voice be seen and heard throughout the globe for the masses, to be able to see what you have to say as well. And also, while I take a quick drink. And also, please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire. Yes, indeed, together, all with you and your support, we can make this possible. We can turn our show into the biggest show in the world, all with you propelling us forward and turning this monolith, this mogul empire into something spectacular. And we can't wait to enjoy the ride with you as we're continuing to grow and flourish and shine. And also, if you want to support the channel, hey, we got Cash App and PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super gifts, super chats, super stickers, all that stuff. If you can't support the show, and if you can't give, it would mean the world to us. Help us invest back into this show to make sure that we can go and make this even better, even more entertaining, and even more impactful for everybody listening and watching at home, on your job, at your work, don't matter where. We're going to make this show as qualitative as possible, but we can't do this without viewers like you. So if you can, please support the channel. Would mean the world to me, absolutely. But with all that being said, we got a lot of show to cover. We got sports to delve into. We got boxing to talk about. And we got Terence Crawford to delve into first and foremost. So it is time to step into the ring. Nope, wrong button. Nope, wrong button again. There we go. All right. There we go. Yes, sir. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. As we got people in the chat already like Frankie Z. Frankie, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Welcome back. We're so happy that you're here on today, tuning into our festivities, coming to grips with what the world we seeing with Terence Crawford and this whole idea of, not even idea, the reality that he's done. He's done. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, as we go into the first topic of the day, nope, that ain't it. Hold on, where's it at? There it is. As we go into the first topic of the day, hey man, Terence Crawford, he's done. The brother's retired. It's it. One of the greatest careers that we have ever seen in the history of boxing now comes to an end at the summit, at the literal top of the mountain, at the best in the world claim that was attached to his name, walking away from the sport on his own terms, put out a whole 5-minute thank you video to everybody that was involved in this career, and came up and completely blindsided everybody in the boxing world. I'm still speechless because it literally came out of nowhere. Also, I forgot to read your chat. What's going on with you, Franklin? How you doing? I'm glad that you're here as well with us. And hey man, Bud walking out into the sunset. We thought he had more sun to bask in. Be clear. We understand. Not even a week after this fight, with Canelo Alvarez, we were saying this man was going to fight Janibek. This man was going to go down to middleweight and potentially make history again at 160 pounds, becoming the first potential four-time undisputed champion in four separate weight classes. It would have been absolutely monstrous from the sense of a feat and would have put him in the pantheon closer, dare I say, even to that top five, some would even argue top three level, without he's being talked about right now, in the career of where he ranks, where he's going to be, where he deserves to be talked about. We're going to get into that later on, absolutely. The gist is, the brother had reached the absolute pinnacle, where he was the undisputed, not just pound for pound, best in the world, but the man in the sport, and now similar, with the league's better career than Andre Ward, but similar to Andre Ward, when he seemed like he had a little more in the tank, even though Andre Ward retired earlier. He said, I'm done. He said, I've accomplished everything I need to accomplish. And so, we'll give credit. Hey, look, before we even get into the weeds of anything, real quick, credit to an incredible career. Crawford, thank you for allowing us to witness what your greatness was. For as long as we did, 42-0, over 30 knockouts on your resume, having right at or over 30 knockouts on your resume, being a four-time undisputed champion, winning at lightweight, winning at 140, winning at 147, winning at 154, winning at 168, beating the likes of Errol Spence and Canelo Alvarez in dominant fashion. There was only one close fight from the sense of at the end of the fight in your entire career, outside in terms of Israel Majimov. Every other fight was either definitive or you knocked them out by the time the later rounds came, and it was done. Or in the early rounds, didn't matter. The man's power translated up immensely. He is now regarded, in my opinion, as the greatest switch hitter that we have ever seen in the sport. Yes, or at least on par with him and Marvin Hagler. Take your pick, whichever one. He belongs to that conversation. If you have him as the best, I can't fight you, because, brother, he showed up and showed out. This was a man who fought every single name that he could get under the sun. And that's interesting, because it was every name that he could get, because he was avoided. People didn't want to fight him. People didn't want to do anything with him. He was too much of a risk and never had that much of a reward, because he never got the system of the sport to push him up into the stratosphere as he deserved. Like with the Errol Spence Jr., like with the Canelo Alvarez, like with even a Sean Porter and anybody else in the ranks of 147, or even like a Tank Davis would tank at 135. They were never at the weight class at the same time. But in the sense of that type of engine, pushing you forward and making it so that your performances and your marketing make you an undeniable draw, he didn't have that luxury. People didn't want to take advantage of putting their skills to the test against him when they were champions, when they were on top. And he still found a way to go through and conquer everybody above the situation of not skill set, above the issues of politicking in boxing, above the issues of business, above the issues of promoters, above the issue of sanctioning bodies. He went through and stamped his own way in a way that is just, by and large, incredible, defying the odds. Just like he's been saying all his life, I have been working and trying to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to do everything you say I can't do and more just because I can. Competitive nature to the roof. Skill set unmatched. IQ shown to be one of the smartest and most adaptable fighters and instinctual fighters that we have ever seen in the sport. Like the amount of stuff he was able to accomplish and the way he was able to make it so that every single one of his opponents never got close by the time the fight ended. Every single fight was a definitive answer. Even the fight with Majimov, by the time it ended, it was never any doubt that Crawford won. You can say it was close. You can say it was struggled. You couldn't say that he didn't deserve that win outright. He did. This man then went up after 154. Subsequently, who also this was after beating Errol Spence Jr. in a dominating display in one of the greatest one-sided affairs we ever witnessed on this side of George Foreman versus Joe Frazier. He then goes up, dominates, and wins the weight class at 154. Right, not dominates, but wins the weight class at 154. Then goes to challenge Canelo at 168, takes a year off just to get his body right, and then walks into the ring with what is what was at that point in time, the greatest fighter of this generation from the standpoint of cachet, the face of boxing, the undisputed king at 168, and he goes into his own domain. No rehydration clause, no restriction, no ring changes, nothing else except for all titles on the line without any reproach of potentially getting another shot because there was no rematch clause in that fight. And he dominates Canelo. He dominates Canelo. He dominated Canelo. Hurt him in the last 10 seconds of the 12th round. And won a complete definitive landslide victory over one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen in Canelo Alvarez. At a weight class that we all said he had no business being a part of. This man, like I've said before, and it's stamped today, he is one of the greatest fighters we have ever seen in this sport. He's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest. He's one of the greatest fighters we have ever seen. There is almost no equal from the standpoint of a historical context in the boxing world that Terence Crawford has upwards of the top 10. When you get the top 10, you can get that threshold. Below that, you have, and this is with understanding, the history of what this sport has offered for decades on end. For centuries, on end. We understand that completely. This is not me trying to go and just and go push this to an insane degree. But this is reality. This cat has done something that we may never see again. We may never see again. And he did it in spite of not getting the same opportunities like others. He did it in spite of it. He did it in spite of boxing's corruption. He still did this with everything stacked against him as to you ain't all that, you ain't good enough, you're not who you say you are. You're not you don't fit the bill of what a star boxer should be outside the ring. Too much of a risk inside of the ring. With his resume getting slandered, with his talent being diminished, with everything that was seen as is not in the cards for you to be what you're going to be. He still did it. He still did it. And boy, like all you can say is this is one of the greatest we've ever seen. That's all you can say. That's all I can say. A career defined by nothing but spite and aggression and outright competitive fervor of I will prove you wrong. That was the motto. I'm going to prove you wrong. That was his whole career. I'm going to prove you wrong. And he did it. And he did just that. And I mean just credit to one of the greatest in history. Credit to one of the greatest, and it's insane, honestly, that we're sitting here saying he could do more. We're sitting here saying he could have done more if he really wanted to. We're saying there's still more he could have done if he so chose. And we would have picked him as a favorite at 38 years old. This is longevity on top of greatness. It's insane, man. I'm telling you, it is insane. It's insane. But has a bright future as a trainer in boxing. If he so chooses, my gosh, this man can pick people apart watching how they fight. Telling people to teach if he wants, he can take a Bomac role. Shoot, imagine if he and Bomac just team up together to make a whole stable. Imagine if Crawford becomes a promoter and trainer. The sky's the limit for what he can do. The sky's the limit for what he could be. He's got real estate properties left, right, and center, been buying up stuff ever since he made money in his career. Investing, this man is a mogul on top of a all-time great boxer and a mental tactician. I guarantee he's got plans in the cards. What they are, I don't know, but he could do whatever he wants, to be very honest. Bud will be a great ambassador for the sport of boxing. He will. They will. No question. There is no... He's probably going to... I would assume he's going to be around the sport for longer. I would assume. Because he just loves the competitive nature. He wouldn't want to miss what's going around in regards to the boxing world. I would assume. And if he does go that route, hey, man, he'd be great. He'd be phenomenal. I don't know that at all. Let me see. Amen, Rhoda, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We're so happy that you're here and joining us on the live. Crawford is one of the best. Yes, he is. It was a joy to watch his career. It was a joy. And many people, mind you, just like I talk about this with LeBron, talk about this with Kobe, talk about this with other greats, there is going to come up with it. You don't know when this ride is going to end. And if you let your fandom overshadow what the greatness that you're seeing in front of you, you will live to regret it, because you will say, I wish I knew what I had when I had it. Thankfully, we did that on this channel, and we made sure to go and tell everybody, hey, man, we're seeing something that we may never see again in Terence Crawford. It's ridiculous. And beyond that, we can now delve into the why. Why, in fact, is this happening? What's the reason as to why this retirement is even taking place on the side of Terence Crawford? What would be a reason as to why one of the greatest careers in the world ends on a note of, I don't want to say it's underwhelming. It's not underwhelming. It's not underwhelming at all. But it's shocking, because we saw that there could be more to do. Why would he go and end this career now when he had names like Charlo, potentially, who's going to come back at 168? He had names like Janibek, who, well, guess he popped dirty. If he stuck around, we assumed Janibek was going to get another belt after his ban, and then boom, back in the fray. Lara, who just won a title, Lara, who's still holding on to the title at middleweight. Carlos Adames, a rematch with Canelo Alvarez, which is big money. Shoot, even Canelo himself and his trainer was saying, hey, man, we ain't fighting in May, because we're training for a rematch with Terence Crawford right now. Forget Cinco de Mayo. We're going to get our get back. That's what they were saying. That's what Eddie Reynoso said. Quote. You can look at that. That's on the Ring Magazine's social media. That's a quote. This, again, when he was the face, Crawford had became the face of this sport. And everything was about to cascade, seemingly, into a means where all the big fights that he was denied, on top of the money, on top of the respect that he didn't get in the deserved sense up until now, he was about to get. It was about to happen. It was literally, he had gotten it. And now you could throw your weight around wherever you wanted to. And everybody would fall in line. Why choose now, though you're 38 years old, which you understand, to retire? Could it have been because of age? With him being a lot of mileage on the tires of a boxing career. Yes, we know Usyk's 38 years old, or somewhat 38, 39 years old as well. Canelo's 36, 37. The older champions have been able to stay around. But still, the in-ring wear and tear, yes, it does take a toll. Sparring, training, road work, in the gym, the actual night of the fight, weight cuts, sculpting muscle, losing fat, dehydration in some situations, whatever the case may be. That is what he had to deal with. That, on any fighter, takes a toll in your preparation. Maybe that's why he said, you know what, yeah, I can't do it anymore. Body is, it's time for me to go and understand. Even if I want to do it, I need to make sure I go and, like Andre Ward always says, since you retire while I have my health and strength. Paraphrase. Retire while I got all my mental faculties. Leave while I still can remember. and be safe to remember what I've done and enjoy the fruits of my labor, which we see so many times with boxers. It's not the case. Just take, for example, the likes of Tommy Hearns, but he retired and then now he got his house stolen by his own family, which is insanely shady and ridiculous. Or at least allegedly. Well, let me rephrase that. Allegedly got his house taken by his family. Or if it wasn't his family, somebody that was close that he trusted done took his house with text stuff. Whatever the case is, it's bad. It's really bad. But regardless of which, Joe Frazier retired without a dime to his name and died. Well, no, he died without a dime to his name with a gym that he was living in that he made famous in lieu of winning championships for the city of Philadelphia and for himself. Beating Ali. That same Joe Frazier lived in that thing. Why? Because he was broke. Couldn't take care, which is a shame. Mike Tyson lost it all. Gained it back, but lost it all. Throughout his career in boxing and post-boxing. Why? Because this is what boxing does. It will eat you with no remorse. In and post the sport. Crawford saying, you know what, let me do what I need to do and get out. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because of the fact that Terence Crawford was not going to wait around longer to chase the history and the big fights that he wanted. And we can potentially blame this whole situation of him retiring on the likes of Janibek. Yeah, hypothetical. Again, it's not concrete. Again, speculation. I repeat, speculation coming in. It's not cold hard truth. This is speculation and opinion on my part. Just so you know. But the reality still stands. Crawford was waiting and wanting, and calling out the likes of Janibek to get a fight at 160. All of a sudden, when we see Janibek go through and pop dirty, when we see Janibek go through and ruin what was gonna be, and in the fight of the night between Lara and Janibek for the unified middleweight titles just a couple of weeks ago, all of a sudden that was the one thing he was holding out for again. And once that fell through the ringer, coupled with the likes of the whole WBC drama, trying to make him pay money, trying to make him do all this stuff, it's like, hey man, you ain't doing what, you're making me do something that all these other commissions are not making me do. They agreed to what I said to pay, and you thinking that you better than them to charge, if it is true, more than, it must be more than whatever they were taking, because he had a problem with them and nobody else. That was, all right, I don't need this. I don't want this. I'm too old for this. And I've accomplished what I set out to do. So, I'm done. Potentially. That might have been exactly what? That might have been exactly the reason as to why we see this retirement taking place. When it seemed like all things pointed to, he's going to stick around for a longer period of time. Or at least longer than a medium retirement. But you can't get mad at him. You can't get mad at him because were we not saying that this was what people wanted him to do? People in this very chat were saying he should retire after Canelo. Man, y'all, we were saying it. We were saying it. We were saying that we should. That people were saying in the chat and around the boxing world, hey, go on. You don't need to do anything else. Why ruin what would be considered a movie-esque ending to a career that you deserve to have? You toiled all this time throughout all the obstacles and rhetoric against you. You went and beat the face of this sport in his own world with no safety net definitively. And you conquered boxing. What's the apropos term? Now, what else is there to prove? Why go and do anything more? End it on a high note. Don't stick around too long like Mike Tyson, like Muhammad Ali. Don't stick around too long like these other boxers who it was too, you wasted too much time. Well, not wasting too much time, but you're only harming what you are as a legacy inner fighter. Roy Jones Jr. stayed around too long. Everybody says if he retired after heavyweight without going back down to light heavyweight, or shoot, if he had retired after beating Antonio Tarver at light heavyweight, he would have been seen as the greatest of all time in a lot of people's eyes. But the continued fighting, when his skills clearly had diminished, took away for it shouldn't have. Be clear, it should not. But for a lot of people, it does take away from how they view Roy Jones Jr. as a fighter, even with all the greatness that he did display. People were saying that this is what you should do, and he did it. So I'm not mad. I'm just trying to rationalize. Because this is what you have to think about when it comes to boxing. There is a legacy beyond the sport that can still sustain you without you having to do a thing. As we see with Mike Tyson. But my gosh, it is a fragile type of sustainability that can crash and burn in a heartbeat if you go and waste it. So why waste what's set up as ironclad of a cemented legacy and cemented greatness standpoint when you're at this stage in your career? I can understand. I can understand, but my gosh, it doesn't take away from the fact that this is wild. And then it doesn't take away from the fact that it's wild. And also, let me just keep on reading your chats to see what you all have to say. Also, real quick, let me make sure I got this stream is still going to be up to snuff. Hold on. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. Are we lagging out? Hold on. We're good. Never mind. We're good. We are okay. We're fine. But let me see what you all's chats and what your conversations are in regards to this whole situation. That's why I said enjoy people while it's still. Yep, I completely agree with you. Absolutely. Anyways, next one to go. Please, good gosh, no. Lord, no. Please, no. Please, no. Please, no. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that anyways about to leave. Please don't say that. Please, Lord, please. Oh gosh. Oh no. I don't want to see that career end. I don't like it. Because there's still so much he can do. There's so much he can do. But this is the reality though. We are in the end of this era. I wasn't just saying that just because we got a bunch of old folks. The very structure, the pillars of what this generation of boxing was built on are getting ready to go. All of them. Canelo is getting ready to get out of here. Fury, about to be gone. Everybody is about to leave, whether we like it or not. Because that's just the passage of time. The fact that Nonito Donaire is even here is insane. Laura is here. That defies logic. Also, he lost a split. Donaire lost a split decision fight against Susumi. Which, hey, credit to that performance. I'll say this, credit to that performance. Hey man, the brother, he still can't compete. He ain't win, but he can still come crazy enough. He can still compete. At 43 years old, my gosh. But even still, Fury, Usyk, Anthony Joshua. Now Terence Crawford is the first one of those names to fully go away. Tyson Fury, we can't even put him in there because he's still back. But at some point in time, he's going to stop coming back. Because now he's laden to have a fight with AJ. If AJ gets through Jake Paul, and subsequently I think another fight over in Africa. But even still, Usyk, Fury, AJ, Canelo. You got the likes of Errol Spence, and he might be, but we're assuming it's already done, but even still, we'll hold out hope just for the sake of argument. He's getting ready to go. You have so many of the understood and known fixtures, the cornerstones, the brackets that held up this generation in high regard, for better or for worse. Shoot, Tank Davis, even though he's only 32 years old, Tank Davis, we got to put him there too. Because we don't know when he says he's going to got 2 fights. He said he's going to rematch Isaac Cruz. We don't know. We are not sure. We don't know what to trust. All we do know is that it's a ticking time, it's a ticking clock of when exactly it's going to end. It's a ticking clock. And this whole idea of the era that we have witnessed, and while we've been critical, we have enjoyed it. While it's deserved that we were critical of it, it did show up when it showed up. Oh, it was great. But let's get ready to go. So be prepared. Get your emotions ready. Cause boy, it's about to be a lot more of these names in the next couple of years. Also saying, "Yep, I'm done." So it's the same. Bud retired because see, no, Bud did not retire because Victor Conte ain't doing it. He did not retire because Victor Conte ain't here. Please, Lord knows. Lord, we're not about to pull that snack stuff back up again. My gosh, he has been clean. He never popped dirty. He fought this sport in the way that it was supposed to be. We couldn't get on him as a fighter when it came to cheating this sport. We couldn't get on him as a fighter when it came to doing a disservice to what it meant to be a warrior in the boxing world. He did everything right. He did everything right. He did everything right. And so we ain't even gonna bring that up because that ain't true. That ain't true. It's funny, but it ain't true. Let me see. T. Blood Crawford, one of the greatest ever do it. Yes, he is. Also, Al Booger, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. I've been seeing people say that dumb stuff. It's fun. No, it is. Be clear. It is funny. It is hilarious. It is hilarious because of the insinuations about what snack is or what it's not. All this, it's fun banter, but we're gonna keep it a buck and we're gonna keep it clean. Yeah, it ain't real. It ain't true. From what I found, everything I've seen, it ain't true. But it's funny nonetheless. It is funny nonetheless. And beyond that, still stick with Terence Crawford real quick. We also got to take into account the whole WBC situation with him. Beef with WBC, the belt commissions, all that stuff, not wanting to pay the fees and whatnot. It might have played a big factor into, hey, you know what? I don't need this because I'm bigger than this. And I'm done. But also that leads me to have an ounce of doubt with how fervent this career or how fervently this career is actually going to end. Put it in a better way. How confident I am that this retirement is real? I'm about 80%. I'm about 80% that this retirement is true. Because again, it's Terence Crawford saying this. He's a brother who don't compromise his words, nor is this a brother who goes through and works in a manner that if I don't feel like I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. And with Crawford, because of the makeup of what we've seen from an outward perspective. Again, I don't know a person. From an outward perspective, what I've seen as a fan. Unlike with Tyson Fury, but this might actually be real. It might actually be real. And since it might be real, put this into again, that's why we're doing this show now. But there's a 20% doubt that I have that this will actually stick. Though I am confident that he means it, I don't know if it'll stick. I don't. It's because of the issues with the WBC, or rather with the identity of the belts as a whole. I will say this. Speculation. Be clear. But for disclaimer, speculation. Speculation. And also, let's see, Al Booger, awesome, marvelous Marvin Hagler. I'm out tight. Yeah. After Hagler got beat in a very close fight, that again, he felt that he won. I felt that he won as well, going up against Sugar Ray Leonard. He was like, nah, man, I'm not playing this type of game with y'all when it comes to boxing. I'm done. Everything I did, everything I deserved, I am not playing this game of rigmarole with y'all. I'm done in the sport. I would have loved to see a rematch between them. Again, I think Marvin Hagler deserved to beat Sugar Ray Leonard in that fight. But even still, he said, yeah, I'm not, okay, one situation, said, yeah, you know what, I'm not messing with this. Crawford, that's that same type of instigation to push him to that limit could have been the whole WBC stuff, along with Janet Beck popping and ruining, if he had beaten Laura, ruining that super fight. And he's like, I'm not going to wait around that long, potentially a year or longer, to get that type of fight. And I'm not going to be the man that just rides coattail with this commission that isn't working for me like it's supposed to. But I do have one inkling that he might come back if a fight worth that time comes through. Or, in the second scenario, if the commission apologizes, and if the commission goes through and says, hey, we were wrong. We'll work with you like it's supposed to. We overreact. They do that, okay, maybe we see Crawford come back. Maybe. Either that Janet Beck fight returns to a vengeance and we get to see the anticipation be so high that it's like, oh my gosh, yep, he did it. He became undisputed. He finally got a shot at Laura and beat him. He's been clean now, and he's going through and making that fight as big as it can get. All right, maybe he comes back. But it's only those two situations. Beyond that, some decent doubt that it's some decent doubt that it's going to change. There's at least a little bit of an inkling. Just a little bit of an inkling. It might be potentially temporary. Because we've seen these tactics before, and we can't rule it out even with somebody as concrete as Terence Crawford. We can't rule out that this could be a ploy of tactics to get what he wants. Because we've seen it before. We saw Canelo use a similar, not retirement, but use a similar, the threat of fighting Jake Paul to get him that fight with, or to get him the money that he wanted with Turkey Al Sheik. The threat of saying, I'll go over to Jake Paul and fight him. If you don't pay me what I want, negotiating tactic. Tyson Fury used his retirement multiple times to garner more money. For when he did come back, okay, yep, I'm getting paid everything I want. Crawford, same situation. Might be in the works. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it might. And we can't rule it out as potential. But we're going to have to wait and see how things go. We're going to have to wait. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have to wait and see. But let me keep on reading what you all had to say. I think Janet Beck popping plus WBC non-discriminatory. No, it did. It did. Absolutely did. Absolutely did. If those two things did not have... Shoot, if the WBC didn't do what they did, we might not see, even with Janet Beck going or popping, if the WBC didn't do what they did, it might have been a completely different story. It might have been a completely different avenue of action that we see Crawford take. Because Mike, up until that point, he was not put, nothing showed us that he was stopping. Nothing. The retirement conversation had been about 2 months gone from this point. We're about to go into the next year. With the idea of the zone, or not the zone, with the idea of Zuffa, Dana White, and what the World TKO was going to do and try to bring it to sport next year, all that stuff with the uncertainty of what this sport was going to be, with other people coming up and looking to be dangerous, we were saying, hey man, the retirement conversation very much died off. And Crawford still calling out folks, still scouting folks, still going to people's fight and saying, hey man, I'm looking for you. Nothing insinuated, yeah, he's done. He was still looking to be competitive. He was still looking to fight, at least from the outward appearance. So the only thing I can think of is those things pushed him. If we see one of those things change, can he come back? Potentially. Anyway. Let me see. Crawford feels he's done it all. Yeah, he does. He honestly does. He honestly does. He feels he's done everything. It doesn't. I do think he's back of my mind. The only other thing outside of those two scenarios that I can see bring back Crawford is still wanting to do what he essentially the model that he had worn on his shirt when he was training against Canelo, and still wanting to become a 4-time undisputed champ. That's the only other option that I could see draw him back. If we see those belts at 160 unify quick, regardless of whether or not the WBC wants it to happen, he'll throw his weight in and say, hey, I still want that smoke. Give me what I deserve. And everybody should be happy to see him coming back. Everybody be excited. It'll be a big money draw. And that might be the thing that could push him back. But outside of that, it's probably is gonna. Let me see. Last night there was good boxing. No, there was some good boxing. Shoot, I think it was that last night and that morning as well. It was a lot. Do you think Mauricio? Do you think or did you watch Mauricio Suleiman interview? Talking about Suleiman interview with Sean. I didn't know he had an interview. Wait a minute. Wait, is that real? Wait a second. Hold on. I didn't know he had an interview. I did not know he had an interview with Is that real? With Suleiman. I did not know. I'm not trying just to stay out the loop. Legit, I didn't know. If I had known, I wouldn't be watching. I did not know. I hope he checked him with a bunch of stuff in regards to business practice, in regards to pressing his statement about why he did what he did in terms of charging Terence Crawford, what he charged him, how he feels the WBC is above the other belts when all of them are all doing the same messed up stuff. What's he going to do with Zuffa? Hopefully he asks all that stuff, but I didn't get to see the interview. If I know, I'm going to look it up after the show, though. I know that for a fact. And also, I remember there was a lot of good boxing going on yesterday. Tim Tszyu does not look the same anymore. No, he doesn't look the same. Now, he looks... How do I say this? He doesn't look the same. He ain't got the same spark, that same He still got power. Don't get me wrong. And I watched the fight against it's not Velasquez. It is. Let me see if I can pronounce it correctly. Because I do not want to go and mess up that pronunciation. Maybe it's Velasquez. If I'm pronouncing him wrong, my apologies. But Tim Tszyu going up against Anthony. Pop was still there. He got back to bloodying up people, breaking faces. I did like the offense he was throwing. Still show he had some confidence, but there is indeed a step that's gone. Let's be clear. There is a step that's gone. I will not deny that at all. That don't mean I'm confident he's going to be able to come back and fight against Sebastian Fundora for a third time, or the likes of, again, a Virgil Ortiz. No, he said himself, he's got a long road to get back there, but he's looking to get back there. We'll see if this sticks, and we'll see if it gets back up to what it needs to look like. If the all around Tim Tszyu ability does indeed return, or if it doesn't, he still needs to get better defense. Hey, the butter still moves like cement in some cases when he's trying to get away from shots or defend against shots. I don't like that at all. Especially how he's been tagged consistently every time he goes up in fights. Or every time he goes up against big hitters in fights. Gotta change that. He's got to. But beyond that, there might be some hope for him yet. But it is going to be a very long road, to say the least. I guarantee you that. I promise you that. Let me see. It was stomach turn. If you're talking about the interview with Suleiman, look, I need to watch it. I did not know he had one. I'm going to go watch it after this show because I want to see what he had to say. I do want to see what he had to say because I have a lot of questions of my own. I want to see if he asked. It's essentially in my not in my place, but like if I was there, hopefully I would ask this, and hopefully Sean asked that as well. So I'm gonna go look at it. I can't speak on it because I ain't see it. But if I see it, which I'm gonna watch it, I'll be able to talk to you about it later on or more often. But I guess without that, not without going back to the Terence Crawford conversation, Sean asked some good questions. Okay, good. That's good. He always does. One of the best journalists we got. I'm going to check out the interview and I'm going to see what he had to say. I can't wait to hear what Suleiman had to say in response and on everything. Trust me. But going back to one last thing with the Terence Crawford thing. Now that Crawford seems to be outright gone, well, where do we put him all time? And who's going to be the next person to look out for as, okay, because we know people are going to do it, the quote-unquote Crawford clone. Who's going to be the next guy that's going to be, okay, yeah, he's going to do what Terence Crawford did already. Because everybody was saying, who's going to be Floyd-like? He fights like Floyd. Shakur fights like Floyd. Devin Haney fights like Floyd. Richardson Hitchens fights like Floyd. Everybody all of a sudden fights like Floyd. And everybody was touted as the next big thing. Who is now that next big thing to fill that void of what Crawford left behind? That's the question. But before that, where the world is Crawford rank? In you all's opinion. Now with hindsight being 2020, with the career now definitively at an end, where do we put him? Do you think that the top 10 conversations was too far? Do we think that it is not enough? Do we think that it's a situation where he should be actually up in the top 6 to 5 category? Is he top 15 and that's where he actually belongs? For my money, and again, I'm sticking to it, Crawford deserves to be in the top 10 for the greatest boxers we've ever seen. And we heard, even in fact, we heard the likes of Oscar De La Hoya push back on that same sentiment when it came to Terence Crawford in his career as he looked at the resume. And we talked about the detractors of Crawford as he goes through and fights and as he goes through and the retrospective work or the retrospective lens of what we see Crawford as. Now it's taking effect. Now it's going to be here. The potential rewriting of history, the potential reclassification of greatness, as we've seen multiple times when it comes to the world of fighters. And Oscar De La Hoya was saying that, hey man, Crawford ain't really all that great, at least in his mind. Let me see if I can actually pull it up real quick so I can show y'all so I can show y'all what he said in his own words. Because trust me, it took me by shock and surprise. It should be here. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull it up real quick so I can actually give you the full blown quote, the actual the actual thing that he said. Because to me it was shocking. Again, I'll paraphrase it as I'm searching. He said, "Hey man, I don't know who y'all think y'all are talking about Terrence Crawford in this way. Who in fact did he go and beat? Who in fact did he go and face off? What is the notion that this man should be touted so highly when no greats, big greats, quality greats, dominant greats were indeed on his resume, but has only beaten two legit good to great fighters? Everything else is in fact nonsensical." I believe that was the quote that he said. Hopefully I am not wrong. Let me make sure. Let me make sure he said that. But there are some people, if it wasn't him that said it, it was somebody else. And I know I saw it for real. I know I saw it for real. Hopefully, maybe somebody else has the quote they can put it. Here we go. Yep, right here. This was the quote. I knew I was gonna find it. Where's this whole thing a picture in picture? I know what it is, and I got it now. Yes, sir. Oh, here we go. That's Buddy. As you can see, per this tweet, or rather per over on Instagram. I think it was on Instagram. Oscar De La Hoya talks about in a couple of the social medias. One or two, I can name 4, 5, 6 fighters that compete and probably even beat them, please. In terms of the greatness of Terrence Crawford in post-retirement, 2 good fighters he beat. Laughing emojis, congratulations. Potentially laughing off that this brother has actually done something otherworldly in the sense he should be seeing that level of grandeur. Now, I don't know why in the world that would be the case held against him. If you are indeed the likes of Oscar De La Hoya, when, if we're going to be perfectly honest, hey, brother, this was weren't you on the other end of the spectrum of a fighter moving up to your weight class where you ruled and beating you definitively to the point that you retired in the likes of Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao had no business doing what he did to you? Not because Pacquiao wasn't great, but because you should have, just like Canelo, handled your business with somebody that was indeed not belonging up there. If I may understand. Were you not the same brother that had pitfalls in your career where you are indeed an all-time great fighter, but when it comes to the caliber of fighters of Crawford's level, of this greatness level, you got the best resume in that regard. Though you are indeed still phenomenal. Great. You should not be throwing stones in that order. When in fact, brother, if we are all being sensible about the same conversation, he's greater than you in every way, shape, or form. Terrence Crawford. We bring you up as a name, which is a quality name. And in the annals of history, Mexican boxing and just boxing in general, beloved, respected, was one of the biggest stars of your time, and was indeed fighting everybody you could. He didn't duck. I don't believe Oscar De La Hoya ducked any smoke. I'm not going to, you ain't going to see me talk about that like that, because I ain't going to say what ain't true, and that ain't true. He ain't duck smoke. If I remember correctly, he did not duck smoke in his tenure as a fighter. But we're not going to act like your greatness is the same as his. We're not going to act like you've done as great stuff as he's done. Not because you ain't great, but because he just achieved something so much that it is put him on the same pedestal as doggone some of the greatest we've ever seen. He is in the same breath as the likes of an Henry Armstrong. That is not just average greatness. And again, his whole career is in spite of the landscape of boxing. He still went and proved I'm the best out of everybody. A lot of great fighters in his own era did not want to fight him. They did not want to fight him. He had to work unimaginably hard just to get that fight with Errol Spence Jr. That everybody was saying that's going to be the first big actual proving test of how good he actually is. Because all the beating Gamboa ain't nothing special, even though Gamboa was undefeated. Knocking out Kell Brook in 4 rounds, is not impressive. Calabasas was not impressive. Ricky Burns was not impressive. Victor Postal, not impressive. All these other fights seemingly were not impressive. Null and void. Sean Porter. Before that, Amir Khan, but Sean Porter was seen as unimpressive of a victor when you stopped him. You beat him so decisively and you turned it up so quickly. His own corner said, well, there's no point in even continuing. And they were winning the fight. Terence Crawford won that fight in 1 round to the point that his corner said, you've no matter what work you did before, you've already lost the rest of the fight. He's got you. We're stopping this now. There's no point in continuing. Do you know how dominant you had to be in that quick of a succession? How completely hopeless you had to make your opponent look and feel to cause the corner of them to change it, or to say, even with a lead, we're done. That's different. Oscar, you were never that. You were never that. You were never that great. At your best, you are not his level. At your best, you never accomplished his grandeur. And his resume is not weak. His resume, again, is a in spite of type of resume. And he beat everybody else that was available that wasn't the top dog because the top dogs didn't want to get him. And then when he did get to the top dogs, he blew them out the water. Blew them out the water. Telling you, man, don't cast stones like that. Don't cast stones like that because you'll get put in a bad situation real quick. If you do this, people are going to look into your career. And whether it's unfair or not, they're going to see how it turned out. And they're going to say, hey, man, you sure you should be talking like that? Well, again, whether it's fair or not. Because in this sense, he beat the two that he beat are at their best. Both of them were pound for pound, top 8 or number 1 or number 3, number 6, whatever the word is. And then beat them so dominantly in a way that nobody else in the history of both of their careers had ever been able to beat them before. And all of a sudden, that's still held against them. Problem, man, don't do it because that's going to be bad. Lost all his big fights, got beaten 2 times by Pac, not to mention all the outside the ring stuff. Yeah, and like I said, strictly inside the ring. Strictly inside the ring. And even inside the ring, we could say Crawford was better. Outside the ring, we could say Crawford was better from the standpoint of being able to actually, discipline. But that's a whole other topic. Let me see. Bud is better than Oscar in every little way, boxing-wise. Not a single thing Oscar does better than Bud in the ring. Tommy Hank, the old mongoose, Ali, Bud, he's up there with them. Yes, he is. He is. Because he's got longevity. He's got consistency. He's got performances that outclass every opponent in the same way. He was exciting. He was adaptable. And throughout the multiple changes in the generation of boxing, he was able to still be consistent and perform at a level that was the best in the world. He was. This brother retired as the best. He retired as the best fighter in the world. I don't even think Andre Ward did that. I can't remember any fighter doing that. I don't even think Floyd, when he retired, was seen as the best boxer in the world. There was a lot of people that at that point in time, okay, they started to come up. Crawford, Floyd had started to diminish. Especially that Conor McGregor fight, we were like, oh, okay, all right, let's see What else can happen? Maybe we get to Keith Thurman in there. Who else? Maybe we get Errol Spence in there. Maybe, hypothetically. All we know is Floyd was not the best fighter in the world when he retired. He was not definitively better than everybody else in the sport. Crawford was. He held on to that moniker. He was getting ready to further cement that if he fought at 160. We were still talking about him versus Boots. We still want to see that fight with him versus Boots. When it comes to Crawford and Javon. We still want to see him versus Boots Ennis if it can happen. If Ennis can get up there. Or could have before, again, ultimately, moving through. This is why I was saying Boots needs. This is why I said Boots needed to put pedal to the metal. Because if he didn't, we were going to get stuff like this, where now you ran out of time because you wasted time. This is exactly what I was worried about when it came to Terence Crawford and Boots. If we did want to see that mega fight, I don't care if Stephen A. Smith is saying on ESPN, hey man, Boots is going to be the next guy, which again, we're going to talk about as, who's going to be the next face of the sport. But regardless, which Boots is going to be that next guy, fine, cool. You would have loved to see that fight with Boots and Terence Crawford. Well, guess what? If you wanted to see that fight, you should have put pressure on Boots to actually move quick. You should have put him on Boots. Unify a whole lot quicker. You're 28 fights in, and you still only got one belt in the division at 147. You should have already been fought standing over to somebody else. It should have been, you should have already moved up to 154. And this fight with Virgil, this whole nonsense with Virgil Ortiz, buddy, you should have gotten this through this puddle of mess a year ago. Because you should have already been here. When you beat Shukajan and you said, I need to move up to 154, we could have been seeing you a one weight class away. And if you kept on moving right, buddy, it could have been all of a sudden he waits around for you to get up here. Because now there's some fervor to be had in a super middleweight, in a middleweight division that ain't really all that enticing to the likes of Terence Crawford with the lack of big name stars. No offense to Janibek and Lar, but from the standpoint of the wider landscape, baby, there's a reason why Crawford is saying I'm not waiting around. It was Janibek. Do what you got to do. But when he didn't, it's like, I'm not going to wait. And we knew this. We don't know when the bottom's going to fall out from a boxer. Both in the sense of your talent falters or you just say, yeah, I'm done. Any of those situations, it can happen in a heartbeat at this stage in these greats' careers. So guess what? If you want to get there and you want to be great, once you cross a certain threshold of, okay, I got experience, now it's time to start working. You got to work. And Boots, you didn't work. You didn't work. And because you didn't work, now you've lost out on an opportunity to fight, or at least you didn't get close to the opportunity to fight against somebody who was at, in your opinion, on your level. And potentially be the guy to be the guy to beat the guy. You wanted it, but you could, but you wasted time. You wasted time. Now look at you. Still is incredibly exciting. Sure, still is incredibly enticing. Absolutely. Everybody still wants to see him. The void is now filled that if you were going to take that step, you better do it now. The point still stands, man. We could have had this if you just did your job like you said you were going to do earlier on, but you didn't. And I hate it. Didn't even get as close as we thought this fight could have gotten to, because why? You wasted time. You wasted time. And I hate the fact that you wasted time. It's just in my opinion. It's insane. It's insane. But only has KOs and unanimous decisions on his resume. Yeah, no, like, if you have to understand, when we say that there wasn't a fight that was close, we mean there was not a split decision type of fight where it was controversial in any regard. Either he knocked you out or he won on all three judges' scorecards. That is not common in any way, shape, or form. And the people that were the best competitions were some of the best performances he ever had. Canelo was one of the best performances Crawford has ever put on in his career. Spence was the best performance Crawford ever put on in his career. And both of them were at the top of their game, pound for pound, still in their prime, ruling over the division as nobody else but Crawford, or in this case with Canelo, nobody, period, can deal with them. Canelo, nobody could deal with him at 116. Nobody. And Spence, the only person that could do it was Terence Crawford. That's what was seen. And he went through and he dominated. Dominated. In a way that we had never seen before on each of their careers. It's ridiculous. It's almost laughable. It's almost laughable. Because we know the fighters that he fought were good, well-versed, talented, former champions, outright elite contenders. And he made them look like bums. Not because they are bums, not because they are bad, but because he was just that good. He was just that good. In the same way that we see the likes of other greats dominate in a manner that it's not close, that's what he did. That's what he did. And it's a shame to say. Let me see. Trey Bacon, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today in reaction to retirement of Terence Crawford and oh so much more on the docket. But let me see what you all got to say on the show today. Shawn Porter was the only fight that was close into the stoppage, I'd say. And that's the thing that makes it so funny. Every fight that was close, almost all of them, he stopped. If it was a competitive fight, like we're going back and forth, he stopped you or knocked you down in some way, shape, or form. It's insane. A fight that made it so that you had to push him. He put you down. He put you down. Gamboa, one of the first real tests of his career. What happened? He got knocked down, and then guess what? He knocked him out. Knocked him down 3 times and knocked him out. At Madrimov, he was struggling, and then all of a sudden, in the later rounds, in the last 2 rounds that he needed to win to make it to make it definitive, where it was no doubt, the brother started hurting Madrimov to the body and with short shots to the head on the inside, stopped the movement, and completely nullified everything he had. He has never, ever been in a fight that was controversial, where you could go one way or the other. And every close fight that he did have, he went through and ultimately put him out more often than not. To where it's like, okay, I don't care if it was close. Guess what? I beat you. How did I beat you? I put you to sleep. But his power translated from 135 to 168. Now, how preposterous that is. He was carrying super middleweight level power all the way down at 135, and it never faltered the entire way. This man, from 2016 to 2023, every fight that he won was by knockout in a deep welterweight division on the initial move up to 140 or 147. 2016 to 2023, every fight, including Errol Spence, ended by knockout. Every single fight ended by KO. It didn't stop until they moved it to 154. No, do you know how insane that is? We keep talking about Deontay Wilder. We keep talking about Artur Beterbiev. We keep talking about Naoya Inoue, all of whom deserve acclaim for the power and ability that they bring to the table. Not once, and this is a disservice on my part, did I bring up properly that Terence Crawford is one of the pound for pound strongest and I've said strongest boxers, which is still true pound for pound. I said that, but I didn't say he as a puncher. I didn't say, and I should have said this earlier, he was one of the strongest punchers and one of the best punchers, pure punchers that we've had in the sport, that we had in the sport today. We overlooked with the switch hit, with the southpaw and orthodox, with the dogged mentality, willing to go to war, pushing everybody to the limit, outclassing, outthinking, outworking, all of that. Not once did I say, and I should have said it, that this man is one of the best punchers that this era of boxing had to offer. It got overshadowed. He's pinpoint puncher, a precise puncher, all of that. A sniper. He's all of that. But my gosh, this man was one of the strongest punchers that we had in the world of boxing today. And we completely, or I completely glossed over. I'm telling you, man, this man is something different. He was something different. He was something different. And the Porter fight was only close. Was the only close one late? Yeah. I mean, I think the Porter fight and the Matchmore fight were close. I thought Porter was closer because of the fact that Porter was up. He was up, leading into when the knockdown was going to happen. Which, again, it's insane how quickly he flipped that switch. Jean-Luc, I've never seen anything like what Bud did to Sean Porter after that. After they told Bud he wasn't winning the fight. No, yeah, I had never witnessed. I've seen somebody go through. There was like one clip of somebody going through a tunnel. I think it was like a Russian fighter. This years ago. Some clip was somebody was saying Mike Tyson, essentially telling the fighter who was, I think, down, hey man, you do what we train. No, fight like Mike Tyson. Think like him. But then he went through and actually fought like Mike Tyson. Got the knockout, which, hey, insane. But that was different. This was when he fought Sean Porter, he fought that fight and it was a reset. Do you understand? It was a reset. Everything that happened before that fight or before that round was completely erased. Not just because of the result, but when he came out to fight, it felt like it was round one again. Like the whole fight had restarted again. And all of a sudden, Crawford looked fresh. Crawford looked even more composed. And Crawford was seeing and doing things against Sean Porter that Sean Porter, up until that point, was not happening to. Counters that weren't taking place. Punches that he was not throwing, all of a sudden, he was throwing. His whole repertoire changed. Specifically for that moment. In such a violent way, and not just violent because of knockout, but violent as in abrupt, violent as in it was immediate, violent as in it was so in stark contrast to what we had witnessed up until that point. It was the greatest single round turnaround I had ever witnessed in boxing. The greatest one round turnaround Ali, Hagler, Frazier, Foreman, Floyd. Shoot, even Sugar Ray Robinson. Roy Jones Jr. I had never seen anybody in any round rip control away in such a in such a conquering type of way that it made a fighter that was having one of the best performances against Crawford of anybody Crawford had ever faced. That's what Sean Porter had done. It made him seem hopeless. This man was getting mad at himself because he was asking, how in the world am I falling for this stuff now? Why are these mistakes happening to me now when I was doing everything right? I had never seen that type of complete conquering ability in 2 minutes. We're not talking about from the jump. Well, round one, okay, you just seek and destroy. We're talking about from a switching plan to change and become something so far and away above the world of boxing that you turn a fighter that was having the best performance of his night into a fighter that was beating the canvas because he could not wrap his mind about how in the world is this fight all of a sudden so far away from me and I'm up. It doesn't make sense. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Greatest thing I've ever seen. I kid you not. To this day, I've yet to see a performance in that way that shocked me like that. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I was just shaking my head like man, like man, this dude's amazing. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Let me see. Undisputed 3 times, 3-way class. You can't say he didn't fight anybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And 4-time lineal. Y'all gotta understand, man. If you want to say that Crawford has done nothing, then you gotta say that everybody that did less than him did less than nothing. If you want to say that Crawford's career was only 2 great fighters on his resume, then that means that anybody coming behind Crawford in his own era does not belong in the Hall of Fame. If we're going by that, Spence does not belong in the Hall of Fame. And Sean Porter. Spence and Porter don't belong. And you want to name some other greats that have done less than Terrence Crawford? Timothy Bradley doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame if we're going by that metric. If you're saying Crawford ain't that great, if you're saying Crawford ain't great, and his not great resume, by your account, is seen as a Hall of Fame level, then that means that Timothy Bradley shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, Sean Porter shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, we should not see Errol Spence in the Hall of Fame. The amount of boxers, I'm just naming 3, as the big kahunas. The amount of fighters across divisions that don't belong in the Hall with this as a lineage would be insurmountable. Would be insurmountable. Wow. Shoot. Bacon, you brought up a great point. Wilder shouldn't be there. You could argue AJ should, but if we're going to go with the what counts as a big name in these divisions, because he did fight Usyk, though he lost. And he beat Klitschko. Older Klitschko, but he still beat him. But even then, the best of these would be AJ and Fury. And even by that metric, but Fury beat a more in-prime Klitschko, but then with the performance that he had against Francis Ngannou, losing twice to Usyk, avoiding competition and never fighting Anthony Joshua when Joshua was at the best. But we could argue that he doesn't belong in there either. We could, if we want to go there, we could argue. We could argue that. We could, if we want to go there. If you want to try to wrap our brains around the idiocracy, or rather not idiocracy. If you want to try to wrap your reality around this fallacy, we can do that with other fighters, and I guarantee you would not like that. Because Tank would never be there. Shakur would never be there, or rather Shakur, even with his 3-division thing, he would, because if Crawford's level is still abundantly low, then Shakur, even with his own 3-division championship, wouldn't be there. Would Lomachenko be there? Because he lost to Teofimo Lopez. He lost to Devin Haney. And he lost in his first stint coming up into boxing in the first place. Would he be there? Shoot, would Tio be there? Probably not. Charlotte Brothers don't belong. There are an abundance, I mean an abundance of fighters that if Crawford is not the standard for what is a Hall of Fame caliber career in your mind, then everybody else in this era, save Canelo, in a way, all shouldn't be in the Hall. All of them. Every last one of them. Save, Canelo, in a way, and Usyk. Outside of that, if Crawford is below standard, everybody else doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Nobody. And that is one of the most idiotic, stupid, ignorant, and absolutely blind statements anybody can make, and they know it. Oscar knows it too. I don't know why he's trying to say it. I don't know what he's trying to prove. I don't know what he's trying to prove. But it's stupid. It's stupid in every regard. It is stupid in every regard. And if you want to say he doesn't have all the big names, guess what? That is not Crawford's fault. That is not Crawford's fault. We've seen fighters actually avoid competition. That wasn't Terence Crawford. He couldn't get, he fell into the same trap that we're seeing Benavidez fall into now. Or getting out of now. When he couldn't get fights, when he couldn't get competition, when he couldn't go and fight the best of the best because they weren't wanting to get in the ring with him. I.e. Canelo. 3 years mandatory. WBC belt and didn't get a shot, not one shot after beating everybody on the sun. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. Oscar shouldn't be. If Crawford is not that good, and again, you're diminishing his resume, then Oscar, you shouldn't be in the hall either. You shouldn't be in the hall either. And I'm all for boxers or the Boxing Hall of Fame being more strict. Hey, I'm fine with that if you want to go that route. But guess what? You would put yourself out of that same criteria if you're saying that a person who actually deserves to be there and who is one of the 10, in my opinion, 10 greatest we've ever seen doesn't deserve to be there, then sure enough you have no business at all even walking to the building if his legacy is not good enough. The only word you should be able to say is Hall of. The very essence of the word fame at the end of that statement should never come out of your mouth if we're going to go that route, because you don't belong. If we're going to play this type of game, and it's stupid. It's ignorant. It's ignorant in every way. And I can't stand it. And not to go on a tangent. Because y'all ain't here for that. I understand. We got a show. We got a lot of fights to cover. We got a lot of news that we're going to delve into. Absolutely. But not to go on a tangent. But just real quick. I don't know where this moniker of fame and acclaim became so divisive in a negative light. I don't know where all of a sudden every fighter who is great is getting torn down left, right, and center by everybody around the world when they have achieved everything that you can achieve. I don't know why that's a sentiment. I don't know what's coming into the minds of people and why boxing fans are using this as a means to diminish, destroy, and defame the legacies of what they're witnessing in front of them. And I get it. Yes, people are fickle. I understand. But Sugar Ray Robinson had a almost 20-minute standing ovation when he announced his retirement in the middle of the ring by upwards of, 50,000 people? At least over 30. He didn't even fight. He just announced his retirement and stood there and bowed for 30 minutes because the people wouldn't stop clapping. We saw Ali get all the reverence he deserves. Mike Tyson still revered and beloved. Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Judges of Walcox, Joe Louis got their respect. George Foreman and Frazier, when fights would happen, while they were still around the ring, would get brought out and cheered. Legends would come back and get, not either because they were referees or because they were just in the building, they would get ovations in the ring. We have an incredible historic figure returning for this fight to watch, not even to do anything, just to watch. As an ambassador, Joe Louis, everybody cheers. Walcox, everybody cheers. I don't understand. I'm not trying to view it through nostalgic glasses, but I just don't get why this sentiment of fandom has shifted into such a violent way of every achievement is not great at all. Everything is an asterisk of your career in a light that is completely null and void of deserving of praise. Everything that isn't Floyd Mayweather is not seen as great. I don't know why that is. Even the people that are slandering them, they'll even try to say, okay, he's not just a good fighter, he's a great fighter, but they won't. But the all-time connotations, the transcendent level of aspiration that their talent and career both reached up to and actually caught, they don't want to recognize it. And I don't get why. And when I say they, I'm not being vague. I'm just talking about fans as a whole. A desperate swath of fans and pundits that continue to push this same sentiment. I don't understand why this is the case. I don't get it. What's the reason? What's the purpose? What does it do? How does this make the sport better? What does this accomplish? Outside of clicks and views, that doesn't just reek of nothing but utter, forget nonsense, blasphemy. If we're gonna go egregious, blasphemy. Outright dribble, trash, dirt, smog on the atmosphere of boxing. Why is this the consistent thing? It never makes sense. It never makes sense. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rant. Again, I'm gonna end it. But it never made sense to me. It never made sense to me. It never makes sense to me at all. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Let me see. Top 10 is fair. I would put Bud somewhere in the top 10 all time too. And see, no problem. I agree with it. No, I'm not saying you have to put him in there. I'm not saying he is. I'm not going. If you say and can make an argument he doesn't deserve, he doesn't belong at that category yet, I understand. Because like I said, one, top 10 lists are subjective, which again, Albuquerque and y'all help me to recognize that. Now, some stuff I do feel is definitive, but on the whole, yeah, it can be subjective, absolutely. Your list is your list because you have a different, you view everybody views greatness in different capacity. Some people, they reach everybody's standard and some don't. I understand. But to be a part of the conversation is simply what I'm saying. He should be there. I think he's there. Absolutely. If you don't, that's fine. But don't be saying this, but it's just stinging top 50 as the baseline for how good he is. Because that's just stupid. That is disrespectful in that sense. But if you got him at top 10, hey, I ain't gonna knock you. You don't got him there, I'm not gonna knock you either. I think he should be there. I think he's done more than enough. He's performed in such an admirable way. And I also feel, Lord willing, we see this retirement actually be a fluke situation. And he does come back. Lo and behold, hey man, if this retirement doesn't stick, who knows how far he could have gone. We were just saying, if he went through and fought at and beat Janibek and became undisputed at 160, but now we're eking into arguably top 3 territory. He does that. Because he would have beaten the record that Henry Armstrong had. Not tie it, beat it. A 4-time undisputed champion. Had never been done in the history of this sport ever. Ever. I mean ever. Henry Armstrong held 2 belts at the same time as undisputed and defended both of them. Went to 140 first. What was it, 147 or 140? Either 147 or 140 first. Won, then came back at 135 and won there and then defended both of the belts at the same time. Made no sense. He was never 4-time until he does that. Yeah, we're going to have these conversations. That would be insane. That would be insane. Let me see. I got Bud top 5. Hey, look, that's steep. That's steep. But I can't say it isn't warranted. I can't, because Crawford's now Crawford is now in a light where we are looking at him and we're saying, who could across eras this brother compete with and or beat? And it would be hard pressed to say that a good chunk of him he might actually beat or at least fight to a draw. I said this before he ever fought Canelo. I said this before. I said this directly after. Actually, no, I said this, I think, before Errol Spence. Or at least around that time, he would belong in the Four Kings era with the likes of Hearns, Duran, Leonard, and Hagler. He would be the 5th king at welterweight to middleweight. shoot 135. He could have competed with Roberto Duran at lightweight, when Roberto is the best lightweight we've ever seen. He could have competed with the likes of Leonard at 140 or 147. He could have competed with Hearns at middleweight and with Hagler. Or 151. What? Pick your poison. Pick your poison. Win, lose, or draw. However you feel those fights would have gone. I'm going to tell you this right now. Butler would have been in the thick of it. And still dominated that era just like all of those others. He could have fought with Aaron Pryor and all those, everybody else that was surrounding that division. Aaron Pryor and others. He could have fought them all. He could have beat them. I'm not saying he would have, but could have beat them all. Or could have had classics with every single one of them. He would have still been one of the people to run that same era. Right in that mix. This man is a great that transcends time and space. Legit. Like, legit, man. Legit. What do you think he would have won or lost? The Butler would, his talent belongs in any era, time period, and greatness standard across this generation of boxing and beyond. That's how great he is. And there's a lot of people now that are like, man, we look at what this brother was able to do. Brother, he could give a lot of people some tough times. He could beat some legends. A lot of legends. This is with me having respect for everybody I just named. He'll give everybody war. He would give everybody war. What I would not pay to see Marvin Hagler versus Terence Crawford fight against each other. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about you want to talk about savagery in its purest form. My goodness, I would love to see that. I would have loved to see that. Also, just a reminder, Ramon, Carden, yes. Ramon Cardenas versus Robles. That fight is tonight. After apparently training 99 rounds with Junto Nakatani over in Japan, I can't wait to see what this brother's gonna come back as a potentially developed new fighter at 122. Because I'm telling you, man, what he showed against anyway, he refines that. Boy, we're gonna have something great. Let me see. To me, honestly, Oscar lost all his big fights. Pac, Sugar Shane twice. Floyd, even though you could argue he might have beaten Floyd or at least deserved that rematch and he didn't get it. But that's a whole other conversation. Lost to B-Hop, Trinidad. His best win is who? Mayorga or Quarty. You could argue. Like I said, if we nitpick, guess what? He's going to be in that losing end of the spectrum. But it's because he's trying to diminish what is indeed a quality career. And Oscar's career is quality as well. But they try to make it like it's nothing, and it's a shame. It really is a shame. It really is a shame, man. I'm telling you, man, it's ridiculous. What do you think of the performance Donaire against Tatsumi? And again, I think I spoke on that briefly earlier, or like at the start of the show. Donaire, if I remember correctly, it was a split decision loss for Donaire against Tatsumi, because I was saying I was surprised that he was able to fight that close. I was surprised because I was thinking that, okay, now he's 43 years old. Last time I saw him out, he had some struggles, and I was like, okay, the speed might not, the flash might not be flash anymore. Definitively now, it's going to be the age going to catch up to him. And it's going to be that he is, this is going to be it. If he loses this, most likely, I'm going to say, you had a great career. You competed at the highest level, and you were able to get back to this point of a championship opportunity. And it's just, I get it. Time goes through and it'll, but now, you're going into this with him losing the two fights before the fight with Campos. I was like, okay, this is going to be it. And lo and behold, but this man comes and fights a split decision loss in an incredibly close affair. But it was 116, 112, 115, 113. Now, 111, 117. That was too far of a card in my estimation. That was too. That I don't know what fight that. I don't know what fight. What's his name? Ledzik. Is his name Ledzik? Jan Kawaka. I don't know what he was watching. It wasn't that far off. But this man still got something in him. He proved me wrong. Yeah, I was ready to say it's time to go. But he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. I can't say that because he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong in that fight. He showed he still got some stuff in him. Shoot. They rematch each other again. If he gets a shot at the rematch, which again because it's for a title, somebody's probably gonna be mandatory, and I get all that. I was surprised. I'll say that I was surprised because I really thought that this fight was gonna be the fight that Donaire, one last crack at the whip, one last crack at the top of the mountain, and you gave you all, bing bang boom, all right, credit to you. But he showed me, all right, the Flash might still have a little bit of that Speed Force left, just a little bit. I don't know how much longer it's gonna go. I don't know how much longer, but hey man, all these people keep defying the odds and putting on performances that are worthwhile when I'm thinking they're gonna be done. I'm gonna start sitting back and saying, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna start to stop saying that it's gonna be the end of the road for some people. Because now I'm gonna just start saying, well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes the other direction, he actually wins or makes it close. I'm gonna start saying that from now on. Because right now, boy, yes, I'm getting it wrong left, right, and center. I'm getting it wrong left, right, and center. Let me see. Like for me, B-Hop is in my like for me, B-Hop is in my top. Yeah, well, you know what? That's actually the first time I've heard somebody put Bernard Hopkins in the top 10. Generally, he's in that top 20, top 15 area for people that I talk to. But he's got a top 10 career. If we want to go, if we want to go with the not just the longevity, but he won a championship in literally every weight class he was ever in, and he went into like 8 of them. He went to like 8, 9, however far we went. Who's winning championships at 50? He won a was it 59 or 40? Was it 49 or 46 years old that he won a chip and then broke his own record? Somehow, some way. It made no sense. It made no sense at all. But it's ridiculous. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad because he does deserve it. He definitely does deserve it. I would say 5 to 12 all time for Terence Crawford. Look, not bad at all. The good thing about Bud is he's the most accomplished fighter all time, so no one can discredit him ever. Well, he's one of them. Like I said, Bernard Hopkins and that catalog is ridiculous. Floyd with those 23 champions that he beat. Pacquiao with 8 division with 8 division world champion that we've never seen in the history of the sport. You got Usyk, now 2-time undisputed. You've had Roy Jones Jr. going up from 154 heavyweight, winning a champion every step of the way, to coming back down to a light heavyweight and winning. But Crawford, he's one of them. He's one of them. That on top of his skill set, like it puts him there. And with this win, who he beat the Canelo that at his division, he was seen as unstoppable. And he took his undisputed belts in a manner that was better than any other person that ever beat him, at least in my opinion. The most complete loss I have seen Canelo have in his career. That wasn't because of fatigue. That wasn't because of moving up. That wasn't because of anything except for you got beat by the better man outright. I've never seen that. Floyd, he was inexperienced, you could argue. Catch weight, you could argue. You couldn't argue anything. And he beat them in the way that Floyd and Bivol beat on that one night. I'm telling you, it's insane. It's insane. So I get it. I understand. He's one of the most accomplished we've ever seen. That we've ever seen. He's one of the most competent we've ever seen. Let me see. If he did 4-time undisputed, I would give him number one, full stop. And that's the thing I wanted to see. I wanted to see if he got undisputed at a 4th weight class. I'm putting him at top 5 now. I would have put him at top 5. I would have put him at top 5, and now we're combating with you in the immediate vicinity of Sugar Ray Robinson, Roy Jones Jr. of that ilk. You in there now. You do that. You go that route. You're in that vein. Shoot, man. That's why I'm saying there's a part of me that wishes this isn't the end. Because if it ain't the end, if he is using this as a ploy to get what he wants, which might be an undisputed championship opportunity, waiting for Jada to actually come back and just saying, oh, okay, I'm back. Get your belts and then we're going to fight. If that's what the case is. Or if you're just trying to force the commission to work like he wants to work, which again, hey, more power to you. Whatever the case may be, if he comes back, slim, but if he does, and goes about this road, boy, that would be insane. I mean, facts, walking away on top, can't nobody say nothing, but people will try, and they can't. If they do, they're dumb. If they do, they're dumb. If you try to speak against this, you're dumb. You're dumb. Full stop. This isn't insulting, because if you're just ignorant to what the landscape of this career has carved out, that's a completely different story. You just don't know. But if you do know, and you're still saying this in the sense of there is no merit to his greatness, well, now you deserve to be called stupid. You deserve it. You deserve to be called a fool if that's the case. Also, let me see Y2J. Yo, Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We appreciate your time. Also, I almost forgot, shameless plug. Hey, if y'all are here, please keep liking the video. Please keep liking the video. It helps this show immensely. Helps push this conversation to the masses across the globe, to let the witnesses see what we got going on this show, because Lord knows everybody's going to want to see and be a part of this great endeavor that we got on this channel. And I can't wait to keep on growing and flourishing with you all as we continue to perform as an incredible and new and absolutely dominant force in the sports landscape. And I can't do this without your help. So please keep on liking the show. Keep on sharing the show. Hey, if you want to give to the show, we got Cash App and PayPal. Links down below in the description, and super chats and gifts and whatnot. If you can give, like I said, we're going to earn our keep. We're going to earn our right to be entertaining enough that you'll want to support the channel. We can't do this without viewers like you. So it means so much if you could support this channel and help me out so immensely to pay the bills and to make sure I can make this show even better and grow it accordingly. But with all that being said, we got a bunch of stuff to still talk about, so we ain't going to waste no more time. Let me keep on reading you all's chats on the day. Let me see, Tay. Also, Tay, how you doing? Hey, brother, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. If I haven't said hi already, hi. What's going on with you? Thank you for tuning in. Aaron Pryor knocking out Bud at 140. That would be a good fight. I don't know if he's not. Would he not? He got the power. He definitely would be good enough. Would he knock out Bud? I don't know. I don't know, but boy, that'll be a good fight. That'll be a good fight at 140. I would love to see what that was going to be like. Let me see. John, what do you think about the Virgil boot stuff going down? Well, that is actually a great situation to delve into, to talk about, because that conversation has been very much on the fritz, if I may say. And I say it in the worst way possible, because with Boots and Virgil, it's been Virgil looks like he's ducking. He looks like he's ducking. Be clear. Virgil right now looks like he's ducking Ortiz. And it's a shame. He put out a whole thing on Instagram. His manager put out a whole diocese about why that fight's not happening, what they're trying to, you can't demand Virgil to do anything and all that stuff. Virgil's in control of his own career or something along those lines. And it's like you if your manager puts out stuff like this, you are making your fighter look oh so bad. You're making him look oh so bad. You're making him look oh so bad. This is for Boots versus Ortiz. This is a horrible look. This is a terrible look. This is a terrible. Right now, Virgil, brother, you look out of sorts. You look very much gone to pasture from the standpoint of all that bravado that you were bringing into the ring when you faced off against Boots face to face. All of a sudden, that is now no longer there. What the work? What the work? What in the work? How did we fall so far from grace? How did we fall so far from grace when it comes to you as a fighter? Not getting your stuff done. Your manager and your team is making you look foolish. Because now Eddie Hearn is saying they sent the contract, they got their stuff in order, they're waiting on you, you lost your pen, and you send a whole diocese of a statement, essentially, I'm going to be completely honest, essentially confirming, oh dang, y'all don't want this fight like you say that you do. You don't. In fact, let me make sure. Let me see if I can pull up this whole. Let me see if I can pull up the entirety of the what's it call it? Let me see if I can pull up the entirety of the quote or of the statement that he put out. Because right now, when I say it looks bad, it looks like it was almost a book long. I can't even call it a paragraph. It was a book long, straight up statement. Say, what is that? I know it's here. Hold on, wait, hold on. I might have spelled his name. Hold on, I may have spelled his name wrong. Maybe that's what. Yep, I did. I spelled his name wrong. That might have been why I wasn't getting views on some of these videos, because I was spelling. I was spelling his name wrong in the thumbnail. It's Vergil, not V. Yep. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my fault. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That's my fault. That is completely my fault. But he was essentially it's a bad thing. Because he is making himself look, and his team is making himself look weak. I'm gonna be real. The very thing that we said Boots was doing, or rather that it looked like Boots was insinuating on doing. Now he's doing the exact same thing apparently, and here it is. Here's the entire thing. I'll let you read it for yourself as we switch over to picture in picture real quick. Let me see. There's too much drama with them, and like, hey, Rhoda, you right? Like right now, you right? You are absolutely right. Fight won't happen. It might not, and I hate to say that. I got Boots in 7 or less. If you have Boots winning this fight, there's no issue there. The problem is making the fight now. The problem is making the fight, and mind you. If you were here earlier on this channel, we were saying that Boots was one of the issues as to why that fight with Virgil Ortiz wasn't happening. He was the issue at that point in time because he was wasting time, holding up this whole transition that he said he was going to do. Where was the fervor of trying to conquer the world like you said you wanted to do when you said you would become undisputed at 147, 154, 160, 168 and moving through weight classes and being dominant? That's what you said you wanted to do, which we were all for, but then you stopped moving after Shukajan and you stagnated. You said you would. You said you need to move up. Then you went and stayed at 147 because you're going to go out there undisputed. And then you beat Standing Honors. And then you didn't go out there undisputed. And then you moved up, but then you waited. You said you needed 2 tune-ups. Then you said you needed 3. Then you said you needed 1. And then you finally got a fight. And then you beat him. And now you're finally moving with the ball to get at 140, at 154 to fight Virgil. And everything at this point was Boots was holding the line. And now it's completely flipped. Boots is now here. And Virgil's the one that's holding the line. He's the one that is holding up everything. He's the one that is making this whole fight look very much in jeopardy. Because he is the one that's holding up all the progress, seemingly, in what's going on. And like I said, I'm going to show you the whole situation. Like, this is his entire statement. Virgil Ortiz is promoter. You see how long this is? And all of this is to essentially say the zone, and I'll leave it up here to let you be able to, that if you can read it, because it's a lot. I'm not gonna read all because that's a ton. But to paraphrase, he's essentially, all of this was to essentially say, you cannot tell Virgil Ortiz what to do, and you can't force him to fight who he wants to fight. And it's ridiculous. Again, now from Eddie Hearn and their perspective, they've done all the work they were supposed to do. Sent the stuff his way. There is a offer and a negotiation paper that is waiting to be signed and dealt with on Virgil Ortiz's side, but they are not going to be quote unquote pressured or forced or abdicated. Not abdicated. They're not going to be viscerally pushed into doing something that they feel they don't gotta do. To put it in better terms, because this is the quote right here. I assure you, in talking to the zone, this is in direct response to the zone. I assure you that you won't block us from fighting. You won't force us to fight anyone. That you won't tell us where and what platform we can fight on. Now, with all due respect, and I understand, you want to make sure you got your stuff right, want to make sure you got your information right. Understandable. The platform would be on the zone, first and foremost. And secondly, where and when, or rather the who, you're not being forced to. It's what's expected. It's literally the fight that you said in the ring you wanted. And the where, in all honesty, should not matter. In this case and scenario, unless you just want it in your hometown, which, okay, fine. If you can get there, get there. But if you don't, guess what? That should not be the biggest thing on your mind for why in the world this fight is not acceptable for you. And if anything, you're promoting. And if this isn't Virgil Ortiz, and this is his team moving like this, they are making Virgil Ortiz look like an absolute fraud against Virgil Ortiz's potentially own wishes, if that's what's happening. And it is damaging all of the reputation that they just garnered from their knockout with Lubin. All of that. The immediate cachet and the immediate viewpoint of what Virgil Ortiz is in this division. Yeah, I'm still the man. Yeah, I'm still that guy. Even without a belt, I'm the most dangerous brother here. And y'all just saw it. Fine. You beat a Lubin that we thought was gonna make a war. You beat him you knocked him out in 2 rounds. You made it look easy. We can't say nothing against that. What we can say is that because subsequently afterwards you looked like a fool. Because you talk about you wanted to fight Spence after looking at Boots face to face. Now your promoters and your managers putting this out. Since you go trying to fight against his own, it's a mess in all regards, and it's a shame. He is shooting himself in the foot. He's shooting himself in the foot. Whether he believes it or not, whether his team thinks so or not, at this point in time, the only person that's gaining from this is Boots. He's the only person. He's the only buddy gaining from this. Because he's the only buddy that's being seen as he's taking initiative. He's trying to make something happen. And now the other side of the coin is holding up all the progress. That's bad. That is bad. Let me see. Golden Boy DAZN. Golden Boy DAZN contract is soon coming to an end. I wonder if they will re-sign him after this. I don't know. That's actually a really good question. I'm not exactly sure whether or not they will re-sign him or not. Dude only ever held the WBC interim title. I don't know why Oscar acting like Boots isn't the AAA side. And I mean, It's boxing. It is business. It is negotiations. All of that in a bag of chips is what this whole dilemma is. But in all actuality, this should be an easy fight to make. This is the most recognized bout that everybody in and even some outside of this sport want to see happen. But Boots just got brought up on First Take, ESPN. Whether how much you value Stephen A. Smith's opinion or not, which I completely understand, whatever side of the coin you may fall on. But the very fact that on the worldwide leader, your name got brought up on an abject segment that has been prompted out to the masses in a 3-minute clip, and almost two of those minutes were strictly talking about Boots Ennis. But there's a reason why this Boots got some traction. He is one of the hottest next generation names that this sport has to offer, that's looking to be the man to now take that spot that Crawford left behind. Whether or not that is fair on his part, whether or not that should be something that is placed on Boots' shoulders, at this point in time, that's what the reality is of what the spin of this next chapter in boxing is leading into. Boots looks to be the man to take hold and take rank of that next conquering menace that everybody loves to see out of Philadelphia. That's the reality. And because of that, Virgil, if you beat Boots, guess what? You're already the man in your division. You become one of the biggest names in the sport. You already are. You become even better. You transcend a lot of stuff if you beat him, let alone if you knock him out. And it's your most immediate competition. Where is the fervor of you making it happen? We don't like it. We can't stand it. And I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. It's going to be very, very bad if this falls out the window and we keep on seeing Boots take on somebody else and keep on winning. And Virgil, more often than not, doesn't get his shots. And when he does, it's going to be, hey man, you held up this butt whooping long enough. That's what's going to be said by the fandom. Not saying that that's what's going to happen. Not saying he's going to get his butt beat. But I am saying it's going to start turning against one of the most heartfelt, from the standpoint of ruthlessness, from the standpoint of aggression, the Mexican warrior spirit, one of the best in the division. Outright. That sentiment's going to start turning against him if he keeps on going this route of essentially upholding what should be the inevitable fight that needs to happen for both of your careers. It can be very bad down the stretch. And also, real quick, now that we're making good time. We can still, cause we did have it in the title card as well, talking about the fight that's happening tomorrow, which we will be live streaming. We're talking about Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, going through up the ringer as we're going to the last big topic of discussion for the show on today. We just got the weigh-ins. They haven't done the ceremonial weigh-in yet. That's happening today. I don't know what time. If I'm being completely honest, I'm trying to find it out right now. If we can watch it while we're here, hey, we'll watch it while we're here. But even still, at the point of me doing this show with the unofficial weigh-ins, or rather with the official weigh-ins that were behind the scenes, which I don't know why they stopped making the official weigh-in live and making it ceremonial, where you've already done weight without the crowd. I missed that. They need to bring that back. But regardless of which, as I'll show you right now in picture-in-picture, we got the official weigh-in for what this card is going to be like. And it is drastically bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. This is bad. This is bad. Anthony Joshua, if you're worried about him coming in and being not able to make the weight, the Butter Case kids come in 2 pounds under. at 243. Mind you, when he fought Andy Ruiz, I think he was 242. When he fought Anthony Joshua, when he fought Usyk, I think he was also 242 to 241, somewhere around that range. And Jake Paul is 216. And I want you to look at this video. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Can y'all see? If you're listening at home, we're looking at the weigh-ins, the official weigh-ins before the ceremonial weigh-ins of these fighters leading into tomorrow. And I'm telling you right now, as you all can see it,
16.6.
if you look at the physique, this is horrible. Jake Paul saying he's going to have to be faster, quicker, and move his feet against Anthony Joshua. Well, guess what? All that can be well and good, but even at this weight, you not even you are overblown above 200 pounds. You're overblown. You were overblown when you came in at 237 against Mike Tyson. Now you're trying to come in again above 205 against Anthony Joshua, and you're supposed to be a mover, and you right now look like a bag of milk. This is the least defined we've ever seen Jake Paul from the standpoint of outside of that fight with Mike Tyson. I dare say even worse than that. Even worse than that. Even worse than that. When I told y'all he couldn't put the weight on properly, this is what I'm talking about. He looks closer to Andy Ruiz than he does to the best version of himself. That's bad. Andy Ruiz can fight like that because his body's built like that. You're not. This man had a pot belly while he was working in the open workouts for Anthony Joshua. Subsequently after their initial press conference. This is despicable in every regard. And this brother's coming in one of the lightest he's ever, or around some of the lightest he's been in a minute. And this AJ is an AJ that can move, that can be fluid, that can actually still carry power and have the stamina to go, especially 8 rounds, do whatever he wants. Shoot, we even go back to when they were doing the where's that? I think it's not on the ring. It's on was it here? There we go. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here it is. I was trying to get the whatchamacallit? I was trying to get the open workout footage. That's what I was thinking of. I was trying to get the open workout footage of them in the ring, moving about. For some reason, it's not coming up. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a minute. We already saw the height discrepancy, and we're going to see that more often as we get closer and closer to the fight. But if you watch the open workout with Anthony Joshua and you see what he's been working on with Usyk, even likely, there's a better pep in the step. There's a better flow. There's a better fluidity. From the stiffness that we were talking about with Anthony Joshua in the past, this is the clip I was looking for. In fact, let me save it so I can make sure I can have it side by side. But this is the perfect clip I was looking for in comparative to how they're moving, how they're fighting, and what each of them are doing. You can see, and I'm about to blow it up. It's not just night and day with Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, but it's night and day from the standpoint of how we've seen AJ move and adapt as his career has gone up and then taken a drastic step down and then going back up again. As we can see, Tay, I hope AJ win, but I don't trust him. I mean, like, for this fight, I don't know why you wouldn't. You understand? This fight, if I get the concern, you're scared of the power, you know Jake Paul can potentially get a crack, and we've seen Anthony Joshua vulnerable. We have seen Anthony Joshua vulnerable against one of the heaviest hitters in the world, and Daniel Dubois, against Usyk, the best boxer at heavyweight, And now, in my opinion, the second best boxer in the world, now under Inoue. Because I got Inoue back at number 1 now with Terence Crawford gone. And upset by Andy Ruiz, who, mind you, he knocked down and was getting ready to knock him out before Andy Ruiz landed that left hook. This is not something where AJ just is going to look bad or get done in because of a fluke instance by somebody who is not even at Jermaine Franklin level, by somebody who isn't even at Charles Martin level of a boxer. He's not. And I'm gonna play something else to show you exactly what I mean in a bigger light. Also, no, real quick before I play the clip, let me go back to I actually put up some of these chats. Y'all can actually see you can actually see what's being said. Also, so like you said, Tay, hope AJ win, but I don't trust him. You should trust him in disrespect, and I'm about to say why. AJ brother, yep, I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad for Jake Paul. Jake going to sleep. Good afternoon, all. Hey, Love King, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, man, thank you for tuning in. So glad that you're back. Hopefully, you leave a like on the video while you're here. You're catching us on the more. We're getting ready to go into these championship rounds in a little bit. We're covering the last vestige of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, as we are going to delve into that before tomorrow, where the fight's actually going to be, and we're going to call it tomorrow. All 4 hours we're going to call and have action on Netflix, so be sure to tune in because it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it. I trust AJ because I know he ain't trying to mess up that Fury money. No, he's not. No, he's not. Thank you. He's not going to mess up the Fury. He's got to fight with Fury next year. All he's got to do is win. Win and then win in Africa, and he's got to fight next year. There's no way he messes this up. Eddie knocked out Ngannou, who came in at 272 in 2 rounds. Yes, this is the same Ngannou who took Tyson Fury to a split decision, a majority decision, and in my opinion should have won against Tyson Fury and been the lineal champion. I'm telling you, this is not what you think. From the standpoint of the trust, and I'm gonna tell you why after I read the rest of your chats. Bro, Jake Paul is way better. Well, you know what, Grove Street, first off, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here, joining us on our show. We do this 3 days out the week. And hey, if you want to, come on and subscribe, come and join the empire, leave a like on the video. But this is absolutely ridiculous, and he's not way better. And the reason why is because he has never actually progressed in a excessive manner. His progression has been good for somebody who is not a boxer starting young, no question. But his progression has also been stagnated because the stuff that's been working against most of the fighters has been because they're not boxers, they're just fighters. UFC fighters, NBA basketball players, retired old people who can't move. And the stuff that he's improved on has looked good because his opponents have been that much behind from their own ability, either in actual boxing skill or in outright age alone, like with Mike Tyson. I've said it before, if Mike Tyson was 54, like he looked against Roy Jones Jr., fighting against Jake Paul, he would have knocked him out because he could actually still move, crazy enough, at that age. Night and day difference. Night and day difference. We witnessed it. Completely different. Wasn't tripping his own feet. Didn't have to bite his gloves. Was actually still bouncing around the ring. Why? Because he still had crazy enough ability in his legs. Now at almost 60, yeah, it was going to happen eventually. It was going to happen eventually. He wasn't going to be able to move. And now we can't. Just plain and simple. Just plain and simple. But trust me, if you think he's better, you better be in there for rude awakening. Let me see, is Joshua getting a pass from the boxing community fighting Paul? He is, because this is a fight, one, that Jake Paul said that he wanted. Two, that is a tune-up fight after a direct loss to Daniel Dubois, which we've seen multiple times. Every fighter gets a comeback fight to look good, to get back in rhythm, and to practice what they've done inside training camp to make sure that they're ready to get back into the world of boxing at the elite level, which Anthony Joshua fits that bill perfectly. That is the literal trajectory. It just makes, the brother that he was getting ready to fight was sparring Jake Paul. Because when this fight fell into his lap, it's too much money and it's easy for me to go through and practice what I'm trying to learn in my return and make a big splash in my return. Just like with what we saw with Deontay Wilder fighting Hearn Dawn, who is not a great fighter, but was done to get buzz back in Wilder's return comeback tour. Well, everything fits the bill. And he's already fought every single other major fighter in his own division. So it's not like Tank, where Tank was never fighting anybody and then was going to, from the standpoint of, wasn't fighting anybody of the caliber of a Shakur, of a Abdullah Mason, of a Floyd Schofield, of a Teofimo Lopez, of a Devin Haney, where he belonged as a talent, and continued to fight fodder that, comparative to his level, they should have not have been in the ring. Compared to his level and where he should have been fighting from a name and talent standpoint, Hector Garcia was not a fighter that you should have been fighting. Lamar Welch, coming up from 130, was not a fighter that you should have brought up, because you had Shakur in your immediate sights. And every other big name that was amongst that big four with Ryan, Devin, Tio, and you, all in the same vicinity. Everybody else moved on and was taking on bigger tests, and you did nothing. Everybody else went out of championships, and you did nothing. Everybody else looked to progress in their career, and you went backwards. Now, it backfired because Lamont Roach was better than we all thought, which he now validated going up against Isaac Cruz, but that doesn't change the fact that fight should not have happened. It should not have happened. So this is not the same. It's not the same at all. It is not the same at all. Because it's completely different aspect. Completely different context. It's a completely different bubble of why this fight is going on. This is not me trying to say that you still don't hold it against fighters. But we also understand, hey man, this fight, Anthony Joshua was looking for a tune-up. He had a tune-up. They called him and said, hey, we'll fight you. And he's off of a knockout loss. Just like with Deontay Wilder. He's trying to get a new trainer to work. Like with Usyk and his team. This is literally what happens. It's just a matter of, it just lines up perfectly that, hey, a bum fighter, for me to be able to make a splash, is going through. The same thing was when he fought Francis Ngannou. Don't forget when he fought Ngannou. Yes, Ngannou had way more respect. But Ngannou had lost against Fury. Though I think he should have won, but even still. And Anthony Joshua had won about 2 times before, moving up in the ranks to get back to a championship opportunity. And this was still part of that tune-up tour. So it's not like the Canelo and Crawford thing, where Canelo wasn't fighting when he was still winning and when he was at his best, and it was like, you're ready for that fight now with David Benavidez, and you didn't take it. That's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. Not because I'm trying to have a different standard, but because of that same standard, the context behind said standard, and behind each of those situations, it's not the same. It ain't. Now, if he had beaten Dubois and then was fighting Jake Paul, hey, I'd be like, hey, man, what you doing? You get back with Usyk. You don't need to mess with them. You literally have bigger fish to fry. But now Anthony Joshua's working his way from the bottom up. And so, yes, this is the exact fodder that would normally happen. It just happens to be that it's Jake Paul. Big money for the same road that I was going to do that I did the last time that I lost my titles and had to reinvent myself. It's literally the same thing that he did when he lost to Usyk and had to go back on a comeback trail to fight Dubois. Fodder, Robert Elanius, Jermaine Franklin, not great fighters in any way, shape, or form compared to his level. compared to his level at all, but he still took him. Why? Because he was trying to rebuild and regrow. And he was at a position where you're not at the top. He's not at the top. He's starting from the bottom up. And so if you think, if you're a fighter that can bring in almost $50 to $100 million, and this is just a part of my comeback tour, and it makes sense with the same trajectory to where my career's at right now, I'm not mad at him for taking that. And it's at a weight class where it's like, hey, Jake, cruiserweight, heavyweight, you said you're supposed to be here. You've been outweighing all of your opponents all this other time. And you could have fought the likes of any competitor at cruiserweight, but you chose not to. You fought a heavyweight before. So if you want to do this, all right, fine. I can't be mad at it from that perspective. Because again, the context is indeed completely different. It's completely different. And if it wasn't, trust me, I would be calling it out. Trust me, I would. But I've been teasing this too long. Let me actually play you the clip of what they look like in sparring as I'm trying, or rather in open workouts, as I'm trying to make sure I can go in and work and make sure I can find this actual ceremonial weigh-in, because I'm trying to figure out when it's going to happen. But regardless of which, I'll play the clip for you all right now as to what we're seeing. Actually, they're playing music. I don't know if I can actually play it. I don't know if I can actually have it play. But as you can see with Anthony Joshua, do you see the better movement comparative to this?
We're not telling him to do something that nobody else hasn't done
very much flat-footed, very much out of shape, very much even with how he is as a better fighter, slow, methodical, and still, as much as he's grown, unrefined at an elite level boxer. This Anthony Joshua looks a lot more, and I wish I could just find that one clip. But this Anthony Joshua, it looked a lot less heavy, a lot more springy. Has a lot more, not just twists and turns, but has a lot more water-like fluidity, a better flow and confidence, not just in his offense, but in his defensive responsibility. And what I said before when it came to Anthony Joshua as a fighter, we talked about him in the past as one of the best, but not even one of the best. When he was at his best, he was, in my opinion, before Usyk got him, the best well-rounded, the best heavyweight and best all-around heavyweight that we had in the division. Two different connotations. The best heavyweight in the world when he was at his best, and from a skill perspective, had the best all-around skill set of everybody. From power, hand speed, length, footwork, defense, and offense fundamentals. Everything blended perfectly together, and it felt sublime. The quintessential boxing punch that you can make it heavyweight with the physique to boot. Now he's turned that into, with Usyk, it looks like he's gotten back, or it looks like, at least with this, he's working on those things to get him back to that level. And if this is what shows up against Anthony Joshua, or against Jake Paul, it's going to be bad. It's going to be a knock. If this shows up against any heavyweight, if this is consistent, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be insanely bad. And on top of that, if you did not know, he's going to need that level of movement. Why? Not just because of this is a fight that is, just to be as safe as possible, make sure you do what you need to do. And also to make sure you can actually find a new style that works in your favor. It's also a big deal that he's able to move and flow like this, because this fight now is not just going to be a regular fight. This fight now is going to be in a bigger ring. Yeah. It ain't going to be in a 22 by 20 ring if you didn't know. This fight's going to be in a 22 by 22. Yeah. If you did not know. If you didn't know. This fight is going to be in a 20 by 2. I think somebody else also in the same chat or in the same thread put up a comparison. If I can find it, I'll find it. If not, then it's whatever. But it's going to be in a 20 by 20 ring. Straight up. It's not going to be in the standard 20 by 20 heavyweight or 20 by 20 standard level. So Anthony Joshua's gonna need that movement because Jake Paul is going to run. He's going to run. I don't care if he's not stupid enough.
We got some problems here.
Jake Paul's not stupid enough to try to work his way inside like that. He's not good enough to work his way inside like that. We can see we're gonna see this man come through in a 22 by 22 ring and try to box, not even box, just run and survive for 8 rounds while not doing anything. He said the crowd, one quote said the crowd's probably going to boo Anthony Joshua. No, they're going to boo Jake Paul because Jake Paul most likely is going to run in this fight and not try to do anything under the sun. He's going to attempt to work in a manner where he just survives. He might try to get 1 or 2 shots off. He might even try to work in the flurries, similar to William Skull, and try to escape, but not engage in the slightest and just say, I lasted 8 rounds with Anthony Joshua. I gave effort. So he'll try to land those big hooks and then he'll just go. It's going to be on Anthony Joshua to cut off the ring and to make sure that he keeps him in one spot so that he can do damage and then make sure he's always safe and making Jake Paul overextend. It's going to be the most surefire way. But this fight, again, if you're just tuning in, is going to be between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua in a 22 by 22 ring, which is huge. So Jake Paul is going to run for as long as his stamina can last and then try to say I survived. But if Anthony Joshua can cut off the ring like he's been able to do, and Jake Paul just by running will tire himself out, mark my words, it's going to be a bad KO. It's going to be a bad KO. And it's going to probably be in round 3. Anthony Joshua's not going to, if he's smart, which I know he is, he'll say, forget the first round knockout. Like I said before on the last episode, I'm going to wear you down, tire you out, let you make your own mistakes, and then end you. And I got the reach to go and hurt you with my jab alone. So you're never actually ever out of range. You never. And so it's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad. Let me see what you all have to say. Let me see. Daryl Anderson. Hey, man, how you doing? Daryl, good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us today. So happy that you're here on this Thursday afternoon. Real quick context on Bud Crawford, but I don't like how he did Canelo, and now everybody is just disappearing or disrespecting him. I hate it. It's a scum move, and that's just my opinion. Now back to Jake Paul. Oh, if you're talking about in reference to. Wait, are you talking about Canelo not rematching Crawford? And also, actually, let me ask you real quick before we go into the championship rounds. Are you talking about how he's not rematching Terence Crawford, or how he beat Terence Crawford and now everybody's disrespecting Canelo? Or am I reading that back? But Crawford, I did not like how he did Canelo, and now everybody is just disrespecting him. I hate it. Scum move. But that's my opinion. Clarify. Are you saying that you didn't like how Crawford is now not rematching Canelo after beating him? Similar to how Floyd and Bivol didn't rematch him, even though Bivol was going to rematch him, but he was going to rematch him at 168. And Canelo said, no, I want your belts at 175, which is why that fight didn't happen. But regardless of which, is that what you're trying to say? Because I wish I'd seen a rematch, but also there was not a rematch clause. Crawford said there's no rematch clause. Winner of this, that's it. He did say that leading up into this fight. There's no parachute. There's no golden parachute to catch me. There's no fall pad to grace me after I go through. If I lose or if I win, if winner of this, that's it. That's it from the standpoint of that fight. Now, I wish they rematched. I know Canelo was prepping for it, training for it, wasn't going to fight in May because he was trying to get the rematch. Crawford told Turkey Al-Sheikh Turkey Al-Sheikh told him, No retire. Crawford didn't say no. Crawford simply said, let's get it on that Stairmaster thing that he was working on in the gym in that clip. He didn't say he didn't say I'm not gonna retire after this. He just said, yeah, let's get it. But I know Turkey hot. I know Canelo hot. There's a lot of people that are hot that he's retiring because they feel he can do some more. But even still, regardless of which, we'll touch on that later on in the show. But please clarify with me so I can read it in the championship rounds. Are you mad that he's not rematching Canelo? Or am I misreading it? And is there something else that I'm missing as to why you're upset so I can better address it? Just let me know so I can be sure I can read it. But let me see. Let me keep on reading what you all got to say. Baby Gringo, what's going on with you? Hey, man. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. A boxer loses to a great and gets disrespected in today's boxing. Back then, they would have gotten respect. That's the difference. And it's, if you're disrespecting Canelo, you shouldn't. If you're disrespecting Crawford, you shouldn't. Now, if this is what you were saying, there's Daryl Anderson, why you were upset with this whole situation of Crawford, of Canelo getting disrespected, it shouldn't be the case. I don't know why. Like, it takes something great to beat another great. Crawford is just that great. But I can't speak for everybody else, but here, we can be as critical as deserved, but we're never going to disrespect what you are and what you did. Crawford and Canelo deserve all the respect that they've earned. They deserve all the respect that they've earned. Canelo losing to Crawford doesn't make him any less of an all-time great fighter. He just got beat by somebody who is transcendent of era and time and space. That doesn't negate this brother is still, without Crawford there, he's still the best middleweight in the world. Or super middleweight in the world. It's still hard to pick anybody outside of Benavidez who beats Canelo. It still is difficult, even now. Even now, because he's still that great. I don't know whoever just, again, this is why people are doing that. They're ridiculous. They are ridiculous. Let me see. Also, Jake looked terrified in the press conference yesterday. I literally heard a terrified voice. Yeah, no, he was scared. Jake Paul's going to get knocked out or quit on his stool more than likely. Don't be surprised if we see the corner just throw in the towel or the ref go through and to stop the fight outright. Quick. Well, yeah, you probably going to say it is a early stoppage. And it's going to be, it's early because the ref is going to be very peculiar. Or the ref's going to be very peculiar. Very peculiar. Yeah, can I say that right? Peculiar. Peculiar or particular. One of those two words. I don't know why I was struggling with saying that one. We'll use particular. I need to learn to roll my R's. Either way, roll my L's. Whatever. Particular. He's going to be very particular. He's going to be very meticulous. Very fine point or fine-tooth comb level of observation when it comes to the damage that Jake Paul is going to take in this fight and look to stop it early. Probably going to look to stop it early if Jake Paul gets in trouble. Why? Because Jake Paul is going to be seen as a very much outclassed, outranked fighter, and you don't want to put potentially deathly bodily harm that will be irreversible going up against the likes of the Adonis that is Anthony Joshua. That's what's most like. I don't like it. Because again, this is what Jake Paul wanted. This is what you asked for. This is what you looked to make as your ultimate reality, your magnum opus, your complete and utter it factor. That's what you wanted. And now, sadly, you're going to have to suffer the consequence. Again, Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua was saying in the ring, or saying in the press conference, hey, brother, when I said I'm going to kill him, I stand on it. He got, Tyson Fury said, what? No, how dare you talk about, killing somebody in the ring? What's wrong with you? All that stuff, even though, Tyson Fury said some outright insane stuff in his own right. But what did I tell you all on Tuesday? The mentality of a killer. the perception, the eyes of demise when you're a killer. It's different when you're a knockout artist. When you can punch like that, it's not the same as just your ho-hum type of situation where you can just go through, okay, yeah, if I win, I win. No, you go into the fight. But if they kill over, they kill over. Sugar Ray Robinson was even having dreams that he was going to kill somebody in the ring, and lo and behold, it happened the night after he had that same dream. It wasn't because he was ruthless, or rather, no, he was ruthless in the ring, but it wasn't because that he was unforgiving. It's because he understood, hey man, this is what I can do. This ain't what I want to happen. But when AJ said there's a license to kill, it's the truth. It's the truth. This is the danger. This is the reality. I got to go in there and fight like I need to fight, because the same type of urgency of my life is on the line is the same thing that my opponent can do to me. That is the exact sentiment that my opponent can do to me. I have put people down, and I know I can take them out, and I know the toll of what this can do to a boxer, a person. Hence, I know that same thing can happen to me. So if I can get you gone, and I can, quoting Anthony Joshua, if I can kill you, I'm going to kill you. Nothing personal. It's just business. Nothing personal. It's just business. That's how he thinks. That's how killers think. From the standpoint of in the ring. You can't fake that. If I get you, if something happened, that's why I wasn't trying. I didn't want to sound callous when I was talking like that yesterday, or rather Tuesday. I didn't want to sound just completely cold and detached when I was talking about this on Tuesday. I used those exact same words that Anthony Joshua was using. It's just business. If it happens, it happens. This is what you get if you step in the ring with me, hypothetically. I don't want the brother to die. I don't want the brother to get hurt. Lord willing, everybody goes home safe. But the ultimate reality, hey man, if I can get you gone, I'm going to get you gone by whatever means necessary. If the opening's there, I'm going to take it, because it's my job. It's my job. And because it's my job, I'm obligated. I don't want to go overboard, but also I got to do what I need to do. And that's what Jake is dealing with. Nobody else in Jake Paul's vicinity, in the boxing sense outside of Mike Tyson, had that same thought process and mentality. Nobody. In the boxing sense, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's going to be, not from the standpoint of they're still killers in their own sport, but in boxing, they weren't equipped for the same. They were just worried about winning. They were just worried about, adapting and adjusting. This is where I live. I'm going to defend my house in every way I know how. And if it means that somebody's got to go, guess what? Somebody's got to go. That's how he's thinking. That is a dangerous sentiment, because that's the reality. Jake Paul can draw on all that stuff. There's a reason why this ring is bigger, because they want to get, Jake Paul's trying to give himself an opportunity to move and get out the way and just to survive, because that's what he's going to have to do. Survive. Got to survive. And if you want to know why I'm also confident this fight's going to go in the way of Jake Paul, or of Anthony Joshua, excuse me, as also real quick, we can make sure that we can transition over into the championship rounds. Almost forgot. We got to transition over into the championship rounds so we can make sure everybody can talk about what they want to talk about. So again, questions, comments, concerns, debates, anything under the sun, whatever you want to discuss, whether you're listening or watching at home, you want to ask a question, go ahead, feel free, make it happen, and keep on liking the stream and keep on sharing the show. And we can make the world see that this show is the hottest show in all the globe. No question about it, but we want to hear what you got to say. Absolutely. And please, if you can, come on in and be a part of the time. It's going to be a joy. And please, if you can, support the channel. But regardless of which, the only reason why, as we're in the championship rounds, as to why Jake Paul is going to lose, remember when I told y'all that the gap between Jake and Anthony Joshua in the initial face-off that we showed on this channel wasn't the real gap because he was wearing platform shoes and he was taller than what he actually is when they're in the same type of footwear? This is the actual reality of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. This is the actual reality. This is what he looks like. This, in fact, there's a whole nother where's the clip of them staring each other down or walking up to each other face to face? Yeah, it's not Photoshop. Look, this is with, and mind you, this is with Jake Paul's back arch, or arched back, trying to do a facade. If he stood up, if this brother stood up straight, guess what? This spine uncurling would simply move him forward, not up. He's still looking at his chest with the same footwear. We saw the first face-off. It wasn't this drastic. We saw the first instance. As you can hear and see all the buzz and pop of circumstance. We saw what it looked like the first time. This is the reality of what Jake Paul has to face off against. This is not just some ho-hum situation. Son, this is, mind you, the best way
YouTube sensation turned pro boxer versus Olympic gold medalist
is to go through. Like, just look at this. And
turned two-time unified world heavyweight champion
for the
versus Olympic gold medalist.
For the. Can you? What? Nope. That is the quality. That's the best we're gonna get. But as you can see, this is not something that Jake Paul can win, because the only way you could have won in this situation would be able to have head movement. Understand, Jake Paul is 6 feet, maybe 6'1". Anthony Joshua was about 6'5", 6'6". Mike Tyson was shorter than Jake Paul at 5'10" to 5'11". And he was the best heavyweight in the world. Do you know why? Because he had head movement. He had defense. He's one of the greatest, he is at his best. He was one of the greatest technical fighters this sport has ever seen from a technique standpoint. Even Max Kellerman said it. You could argue Ali was a better fighter outright. You can argue that the King of Kong, the best heavyweight ever. No issue there. But on a technical level, Mike Tyson is the greatest technical heavyweight we've ever seen. His words, Mike Kellerman's words, not mine. If you don't agree with that, you can at least say that Tyson is one of the greatest technical boxers we've ever seen, because you at 5'11", 5'10", facing off against this a bigger discrepancy than this, and you made it look easy. It was because you had an ability, a skill set of defensive identity that was able to make you so hard to hit and so hard to read. That's why that peekaboo style was perfect for him. Jake Paul's gonna have to deal with that same level of disparity in height and reach and length, all without any of those tools to make that gap anything except for an abysmal display. His only hope when going backwards is going to be the overhand right. And I guarantee you, he throws that punch 2 times too much. As in, he throws it once and it's blocked by AJ. He throws it again and it misses. The next thing you know, the next time he throws that shot, it's going to be the same thing that we saw with AJ versus Ngannou. He will get put to sleep in such a violent way that he won't get up. This is what he has to deal with. And he has no tools to deal with this type of physical disadvantage. And ain't got the stamina, even if he had the tools, to make it worth his while to be able to use them. He is in a world of pain, the likes of which we've never seen. The likes of which we've never seen. And so it's It's going to be bad. And like I said, that was the last thing. We're in the championship rounds now. And we just wanted to get that off to make sure we cover that. So I want to see what you all got to say in the world of championship rounds, but boxing and beyond. But let me see what you all's chats are right here for our viewers at home. Let me see. Yeah, I was talking about Bud not rematching Canelo. Okay, yeah, I was talking about Bud not rematching Canelo. Disrespect and people disrespect Canelo after the fight. And so the only reason why people disrespect Canelo after that fight is because of the grudge that they held against Canelo for not fighting Dave Benavidez, which again I understand, but it shouldn't be that you are saying that he wasn't all that. His only losses are to Floyd, Bivol, and Crawford. One of the greatest of all time. At that point in time, the best light heavyweight in the world when you shouldn't have, you shouldn't have been at 175 that second time at that stage in your career. You weren't the same. And Bivol was just that good. At that weight class, he was just too big and too much weight. And then you lost to one of the 10 greatest fighters in history in Terence Crawford. Though it was a shock, that shouldn't be something that is against you as a qualitative fighter. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. He still beat Mikhail Cotto. He still beat him. He beat him. He knocked out a more in prime Amir Khan. He went through the ringer at 154 and at 168. He became undisputed in two weight classes. He fought Gennady Golovkin 3 times. Beat him twice, even though I think he was 1-1, but even still, he beat one of the greatest middleweights we've ever seen in history, one of the strongest middleweights we've ever seen in history, coming up to his weight class. He's beaten Smith. He's beaten Rockhold. Not saying that these are quality names, but from the standpoint of, not saying that everybody's a quality name, from the standpoint of all these people are well and good, outmatched and outclassing Canelo in physical categories that, again, are similar to what we see right now with Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, yet he is able to still succeed and dominate in such a great manner. Beat and destroy the Jaime Munguia coming up. He went through and he cleaned out 168 outside of David Benavidez, which again he never fought, which I hope he still does fight. But he cleaned out. He cleaned out 168. Beat Caleb Plant. He beat Billy Joe Saunders when Billy Joe Saunders was undefeated and looking like, okay, hey, you might give us some trouble. Book us over the bone. Stopped him in the round. In terms of in round 8. He knocked out Caleb Plant. He then went on a tear. Then beat Sergey Kovalev. It was an old Kovalev, understandable. But he beat Sergey Kovalev to get the light heavyweight championship. That just shouldn't happen. Kovalev, even at that age, was still one of the most dangerous punchers that we got in boxing. And yet he knocked him out. Like they dominated the fight as well. After we got around that jab. I'm telling you, this is a greatness level standpoint that should not be diminished. It should not be diminished. It shouldn't. But I did warn you. That this is what's going to happen. I did warn you this is what's going to happen. I did warn you. This is what would transpire if Canelo lost this fight. I am. You can go back and watch the episodes before the fight with Canelo and Crawford. I said what would happen if Canelo lost this fight. He would be annexed from the conversation for a majority of people, from being able to be the greatest Mexican boxer that we've seen. For a lot of people, that was going to be the conversation. He was going to be pushed down in the top 10 of boxing, which again was understandable. And from the zenith of greatness that he will be able to cultivate moving through his career now, The only way that many people would say that he could improve if he lost this fight and get above what his current cemented state is would have been to fight Benavidez. That would be the only way. I said it, and it's going to be it's going to take a big blow for where his continued trajectory as an all-time great fighter could be at. He's going to get flailed. He's going to get thrashed about when it comes to the boxing sense. It's going to hurt him. Even if it's unfair, it's going to hurt him. It was going to hurt him, and it's hurting him now. He's feeling it. Y'all are seeing it. Oh, he was never that great. Oh, he's lost every big fight he's been in, which, again, it's not true. He's been in the best competition that he's faced off against. Like with Floyd and Crawford and Bebo. Sure, yes, he lost those. We're not going to overlook Gennady Golovkin. We're not going to overlook his run at 168 on the whole. We're not going to overlook what he did at 154 or at 160. We're not going to we can't. We'd be stupid too. We would be stupid too. We would be ignorant too. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with when it comes to Canelo. It's not fair. And it shouldn't be. That's why I'm trying to tell y'all, Canelo's still elite. He still is one of the best ever. He still is at this point in time without Crawford there. Back to the best super middleweight in the world. Without Crawford there, he still rules over this division for now. Because we weren't saying anybody else beats him. We weren't saying anybody else beats him. At least in my opinion. So, but let me keep on reading. Which one I had to say. And he went to war with Triple G. Yep, absolutely went to war with Triple G. I also feel like AJ is more faster than Jake thinks, and his toxic bias fans think. I touched on that I think like the second week into the month. I had a whole segment. I got a whole TikTok about that. AJ is going to be the fastest fighter. Excuse me. AJ is going to be the fastest fighter that Jake Paul will have ever faced or will ever face in his career. And he doesn't know it because he thinks the size doesn't equate to the hand speed. It doesn't. Not in ring. When you see it in ring live, it's night and day. Everybody who has said that Anthony Joshua was stiff has gotten knocked out by a shot they couldn't see coming or a shot they couldn't react to in time. Why? Because Anthony Joshua is that quick of a hand speed fighter. You think I'm with length. I'm telling you. This ain't what you think. This is not what you think at all. Don't think at all. Let me see. But yeah, it was the same for Bud. If he lost narrative, would have been Bud was overrated and never be an elite fighter. And I think it would have been a little bit different because the win against Spence would have been seen as the best win of his career. And because we saw Charlo lose to Canelo already and understanding that Canelo was so dominant, if Crawford didn't lose at 168, it would have been bad, sure, but it wouldn't have been as bad. Because then it would have been, well, hey, brother, you tried something that was ridiculous. We get it. The only person that could have done it or even attempted it was you in a real sense. But if you lost, we would understand. Because you started out at 135. If you lost this fight, I get it. It wouldn't be as big of a blow because it would have been, well, it would have been like if it would have been as if Roy Jones Jr. lost to John Ruiz at heavyweight. Well, when you have been surprised because of the fact that he is fighting at heavyweight, that he lost, no. If he did it, it would have been all that more impressive. And he did. Especially with Canelo being one of the greatest super middleweights we'd ever seen. The most dominant ruler of that division in this generation with no equal at this point in time except for one man in Dave Benavidez, and you came up there to fight him? Like, that's greatness. I wouldn't say I wouldn't have knocked that because of what would have been, the real reality of the struggle, which would have been a struggle. And I don't think it would have been it would have still been bad. The only person you beat was Spence. And people gonna say that Spence was still, overrated. It wasn't all there when he fought against Canelo, when he fought against Crawford, which again is ridiculous. Because don't forget, Crawford even said it. Spence, if Spence had beaten Crawford, Spence was gonna fight Canelo. Crawford even said it himself. That was the plan. If Spence beat me, he was gonna get that Canelo fight. Behind the scenes, they were building it up. That was the transition. You beat me, you get Canelo. That was what Crawford said was going on behind all the pomp and circumstance of their fight. He was going to get it. So it's like, I won, I should get the opportunity. That was what Crawford thought, and again, he did it, and he won. But it shouldn't be that he gets neglected for how great he was. If he had lost that fight, and it shouldn't be that Canelo gets neglected for how great he is because he lost that fight. Does it change what the viewpoint of the overarching trajectory is? Sure. Yeah. Because again, it's a timeline. The story still gets told. And every chapter adds different context to the ending of the book when it's ultimately said and done in your career. But this does not mean that you aren't still great, because you are. Because you are. And he should always be seen as such, at least in my opinion. Let me see. And I think people should stop saying anyways fighting nobodies just because they don't know them. Doesn't mean that they're nobody. And we've covered this before. Not to sound like a broken record, but we've covered this before. When it comes to boxing, there is a full-blown situation where, like, nobody outside of 135 and up, people stop caring. Unless you put it in their face what this person is, they don't care about the lower weight classes. Not nearly as much. Overseas, they do. Here in the States, my gosh, they don't. I can't speak for everywhere all around the world. Because I tell you, Japan, when Cardenas fought, after that, with Inoue, everybody over there accepted that. But he's been training with Nakatani and every other great Japanese fighter under the sun. They've embraced that cat over there. People love him. Tapalas, people love him. Many great fighters, people love them. Overseas, here, it's not that big of a case. UK, not that big of a case as well. You had Sonny Edwards, sure. But then after that, wasn't really nobody else that people invested in. You had Bam, who's still going strong, yes, but he still isn't getting the same notoriety that should be deserved. Though he's accomplishing everything that you want in a fighter and doing it in a way and against people that are, most of them are Hall of Fame level or elite level where they're the best in the division. It makes no sense. But it does make sense, rather, because that is what the unknown does. Again, ignorance is bliss when there's nothing else afforded to you. If the buck stops with Tank as the only small fighter that you care about, Tank Shakur Abdullah Mason, 135, and below that, nothing. Of course, it's going to be that people get forgotten. It's a shame, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Now, hopefully, we have some of those fans come over here, and they can be a part of a bigger conversation and grow up in a wider landscape of the boxing world. And I'm still learning. I still don't know everybody, but at least I'm paying attention. I'll even raise my hand and say I'm trying to make sure I can cover, or at least be conscious of what's going down at the lower weight classes, along with the big headline fighters that, again, are the faces of the sport. I'm trying to do this for a living, trying to be as well-rounded as possible, but that's the reality. Even though there's so many fighters to pay attention to, it's if one, if people make an effort, and two, if promoters and promotions actually push these fighters into the forefront of what they're doing more often. Invest some money in pushing the back, make some campaigns, commercials, all this. Get them in the mind's eye of more even hardcore boxing fans. Put them in the same rooms with some of these other people. Get them involved in the consciousness of boxing more often. And do some work like it's supposed to. Then hey, maybe it won't be as big of an issue. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. But then again, maybe it would. And so it's a shame. That's why we're trying to get out of it. But either way, it's going to take a lot. Let me see. I think it's funny when they call belt holders nobodies, and it's if you don't know them, they're going to think that you just beat somebody. It wasn't really all that good. That's the truth. If you don't know them, they're going to think you beat somebody that was never all that good in the first place. And so why should we think that you were oh so special doing this against XYZ? Mind you, I would say even that translates to beyond just those divisions. We went up to one, remember when Boots beat Stanionis? And we were saying on this channel, and watching that fight live, this was a great fight. That was a great performance. That proved some stuff about Boots. And it showed a sense of stamped ability of, okay, Boots is the real deal. The best win of his career. People were saying Stanionis is a nobody. Stanionis ain't no great champion. Stanionis isn't a real fighter. Stanionis ain't all that. Why are you trying to act like that was a great performance when it was against somebody that wasn't really all that good? That was because they didn't know. I don't blame people who don't know. That's why this show aims to teach and grow. Because everybody can't be a bum unless their name is Tanker Shakur. But because people think that way, not saying you all, but in general, a lot of people think that way because they don't know the other aspects of what goes on beyond their favorite fighter's division or their favorite fighter's own career. If your name isn't being brought up 10 times out of a conversation with the same rhetoric, guess what? Nobody cares. Part of it is, shoot, that translates to other sports as well. Look at the NBA. Lakers, Celtics, Warriors. Were the biggest markets are the biggest market. Lakers, Celtics, Warriors, Knicks. The 4 biggest markets in the NBA. And for a long time, ESPN was only talk about them, and they only talk about LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, Giannis, and even with Jokic. They didn't give him the respect that they deserved up until it was almost too late. And didn't talk about them as much. OKC didn't talk about them as much. The Suns didn't talk about them as much, even when they were on a riding high into the finals. Didn't do this as much. They went and isolated the fandom in a highlight-only type of sport in terms of what Adam Silver said. You can consume, this sport is best consumed by highlights, which, again, is absolutely stupid. That's not the case. Watching the game is the best way to see the game. Highlights are a great additive. Watching the games is the best way to see these games. You wouldn't say that about the NFL. You wouldn't say that about football or soccer, as we call it over here in the States. You wouldn't say it about that. You say you need to watch and see what this greatness is. Boxing, you want to see this stuff live. Rewatching is fun. After highlights are great, but watching it live is like no other. You wouldn't say that about those leagues. But because of that, and because of them only highlighting 4 teams and only talking about LeBron and 6 athletes out of the whole of the makeup of the NBA, guess what? People got thrown under the bus. And now nobody cares about small markets. No, OKC is bad for the NBA. Nobody cares about Oklahoma City, even though they won the championship last year. And they're on pace to be one of the 3 greatest teams we've ever seen this year, having a record of 24-2, on pace to win 73 games. Dare I say, breaking the Warriors record that they set back in 2016. Potentially can get to 74. They're that good. One of the greatest defensive teams with one of the greatest guards we've ever seen in SGA. Yet, nobody cares. They're bad for the league. You see how dumb that sounds? Why? Because people don't... It's propagated that they're not the story and that they shouldn't matter. Which is ignorant. That's why we're trying to help make sure we tell everybody what's going on, at least as much as possible. To help them see, hey man, these people are not just fodder. These folks are dogs that are getting beat by bigger dogs. That should tell you, brother, this brother is elite. Not to disrespect the loser, but to help prop up how good the person who actually beat this cat actually is. When Bam beat Martinez in a clean sweep, you know how insane that was? Bam Rodriguez beating Martinez, the number one ranked fighter in that division, who seemed like he was going to be able to do everything to stop Bam in that momentum, but he got beat up the Kingdom Come and got knocked out with a smile on Bam's face. You know, and Bam didn't even break a sweat. You know how dominating that performance was? On that guy? That's ridiculous. Akhmadali got beat in a clean sweep of 12 rounds against Inoue. Had one of the lowest percentages that we've ever seen Akhmadali have in his entire career. His power meant nothing except until the end of the round. Or the last couple seconds in the fight when Inoue made a mistake. But anyway, you know why he made that mistake? Because he was toying with Akhmadali. Excuse me. He was toying with Akhmadali for 12 rounds. Skinning the cat every time he shot in. And was taunting him and playing with him because he could. That's not natural. At that level. That's not natural. That's greatness. That's greatness. You got to let people see what's going on. You got to let people see what's going on. Let me see. Caroline Dubois versus Alicia Baumgartner should be an entertaining fight down the line in the women's division. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that have all of a sudden seen that fight as a fight that they didn't know that they needed. And I tell you what, I'm one of them. I didn't think about that fight as a big time reality. But now, looking at them more closely aligned from the standpoint of, okay, wait a minute. This is actually something that can come to fruition. But that's going to be a barn burner. Forget barn burner. That's going to be a war. That is, I don't care if it's a women's or men's fight. That's a fight of the year contender. Outright, that type of action. Literally, both of them throwing bombs everywhere. Two people that do have some legit heavy hands in the women's division that can face off against each other and will be willing to work, willing not to back up, willing to look to do some damage. Boy, you want to talk about a great fight. You want to talk about a great fight. That's a dog fight. That is a dog fight. That's a dog fight outright. Let me see. They say that about Jalen Hurts. He came in 5 years of the game with 2 Super Bowl appearances and a winning one of them. Like they love or hate. They love to hate what they can't do. And it happens all the time. It does happen. Now granted, some stuff with Jalen, how he's been playing, I've been kind of, I can get some of the criticism. But the fact of the matter is, like, success is always going to be critiqued. Unfairly, most likely, is what's going to be the outright cause. Or rather, the outright notion. It ain't fair that they're getting talked about that in that way. But it's going to happen. Why? Because it is it's what always happens. It is what always happens when success is done by somebody. In all honesty, people say you shouldn't succeed. In all honesty. That's what happens. I'm not surprised by it. Not surprised at all. But let me see. Also, anyway, was stunned but not rocked because MJ looking closely at round 12 was stepping on Inoue's foot after he landed that punch. And like, yeah, he was. I think he actually stepped on his foot a couple times. I think he actually stepped on his foot a couple times. I'm not gonna lie, in that fight. Which is why some of those movements were a little bit, oh yeah, they were really, really, really close. But in regards to which, even with that being the case, still came out with flying colors. And the main thing is Akhmadali is a dog to make him have to do those types of tactics to be able to win. Because guess what? He was beaten so soundly that there was no recourse of, like, that was supposed to be a fight that everybody was looking forward to seeing. And now we're like, we don't need a rematch of that. Rematch? With that? No. Why? Good gosh. Dominant in every regard. In every regard. And so, yeah, so it's his greatness is great. And also, again, real quick, in a way, is the best fighter in the world now. In a way, he's the best fighter in the world. I'm telling you. He is. Let me see. I think Crawford, let me see. Nate Marciano, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Hopefully you're joining in. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. We are in the last of the championship rounds. Yes, sir. It's the last call. Last call for the championship rounds or whatever you want to talk about in regards to boxing and beyond. Topics of discussion before we get on out of here so we can be sure that we witness or we're ready for tomorrow. Remember, we got to do both the show and we got to go through and call the fights on tomorrow. So we're gonna end it off a little bit. You got 5 more minutes. Last call to get your questions out, and then we're going to go and get on out of here and get ready for tomorrow on Friday. It's going to be fun. Be sure to tune in. And hey, still, if you haven't already, leave a like on the video and keep on supporting the channel because it means the world to us to help everybody else see what we got going on by pushing this out to the algorithms of the sports landscape. No question about it. But let me see what you all got to say on the matter. I think Crawford will fight Ilya. You talking about Ilya Tapora? Wait a minute. You talking about Ilya Tapora? Ilya better not take that fight. Hey man, Ilya Tapora better not take that fight. He better not. He better stay far away. If he wants to make a transition, he better stay far away from that fight. Shoot, he better stay far away from a good chunk of fights if he wants to make the transition over from UFC to boxing, which he has talked about doing of recently. No. I'm telling you. Don't do it. If you thought that Terence Crawford versus Spence was dominant, if you thought that Francis Ngannou versus AJ was dominant, don't let Ilya Tapora fight him. That's gonna be bad. That'll be really bad. I don't want to hear anyone say MJ was a bump. No, he wasn't. If you do, you just don't know. The MJ or Akhmadali was telling everybody that Inoue was ducking him for years. People were saying that Inoue was ducking him for years, even though that wasn't the case. But it was a threat, powerful threat. And to put him out was indeed incredibly impressive. But again, we are in the last call, so let me make sure, let me make sure I can get all your chats read for me to be able to see. Where's that? Yeah, Ilya vacated his belts. He thinks he will do that McGregor, he will do what McGregor couldn't do to Floyd. Please don't. Ilya, hey man, hey Ilya, no, don't clap for that. Don't clap for that, Ilya, I'm telling you right now, you are an incredible powerhouse in the UFC. You knocked out Charles Oliveira in the first round. You've had one of the best highlight reel careers since you stepped foot in the UFC, and you become one of the most dangerous punchers. Yeah, and I'll even call you what you are. In the UFC, you're a boxer. In the UFC, you're boxer-based. And right now, forget Max Holloway. You're the most destructive, and you can argue best boxer right now in the UFC. If we want to go from a stylistic standpoint, you are indeed a boxer. That's how you fight. That's what you do. Your skill set right now above the other strikers in the UFC. You are the most dangerous boxer in the UFC. There's no question. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. You better stop. You better stop. Because we have seen this story before. And it is not because I don't think you can fight. You can fight. Oh, you can go. You can throw down. Your power would carry over into the boxing world. It would. Your power would carry over into the boxing world. I have no doubt about that. For a UFC fighter, you have great fundamentals for a UFC fighter. But I'm telling you, you better watch what you do when you say you want to fight against these types of people. Because this ain't Floyd. This ain't Floyd. This man will hurt you. This isn't Floyd. This brother will hurt you. This brother will put you down without remorse. He will make your career flash before your eyes. He will make you feel like there's nothing I can do. He will demoralize you in ways that Floyd just could never. Or at least maybe what Floyd could have done in the early part of his career when he was pretty boy. This isn't me trying to disrespect Ilia Topuria. I'm telling Ilia, if you want to do that, you better go through the ringer and train. Because your UFC tendencies are going to get you put out if you try to fight in boxing. The same thing happened to Conor McGregor. The same thing happened to Francis Ngannou. The same thing happened to Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva, of all three of them, had the best transition to boxing. He would have been a world champion if he had fought against boxers and started his career in boxing his entire life at middleweight. He would have, I've been saying this for years. Anderson Silva would have been an all-time great boxer if he had went and fought at middleweight for his entire career. If he had never touched a UFC octagon and got in straight into boxing, he would have been one of the greatest we've ever seen. I stand on that because of his instincts, his fluidity, his evasiveness. Mind you, this brother was moving, the way he was moving around in the UFC world, he would have been able to do the same thing in boxing. It would have translated. He's that great. At his best, he was that good. That ability with a boxing background, good gosh, would have been sublime. And had the length. And had the lanky level power. Didn't take much to put you down. Off-balance shots was rocking people in the UFC. I'm telling you, this was off-balance. Not necessarily fundamentally sound punches, was putting people out. Like this, but it was something different. Topuria, he worked his way up and actually stayed in the boxing for a couple years and still got beat by Jake Paul. I'm telling you, man. Don't do it. Don't. Or if you're gonna do it the right way. Make the full transition. Do what Sasumi did when he was a kickboxer at 20-something, went and fought Floyd Mayweather, got beaten around, came back, won the championship. Essentially had his Ali Frazier moment, or his Hearns or his Leonard versus Duran moment in kickboxing, in the last fight of his kickboxing career, and won it and went straight into boxing. And he went and trained and worked and completely went through the growth of boxing and got himself into a world title shot with Inoue's brother. He lost, but he got there and legit was able to hold his own. And he's still a big threat with some big time power. That brother, Sasumi, I believe it's Sasumi. Is it Sasumi? Let me check out the name right. Hold on. Let me check out the name right, because we just talked about it. We just talked about it, I think like 3 weeks ago, excuse me. We just talked about it. What was his name? Not Sasumi, I'm sorry. Tenshin Nakasawa. My apologies. Tenshin Nakasawa. I knew something sounded off. I've been saying Satsumi or Tatsumi like a bunch this episode, because both of them are fighting on the card, or for the past couple weeks. Both we've been talking about them a lot, because both of them are going to be fighting on the card of Inoue versus Nakatani. I'm sorry, Inoue versus Picasso, and Nakatani, who's also fighting on the card as well. All of them are there. And so I've been thinking about them this entire time. My apologies. But no, Tenshin Nazukawa, who fought against Inoue's brother for the title just a couple weeks ago. He rebuilt himself from the ground up and worked to get to that level, to fully acclimate to the boxing world. That's the only way Topuria is going to be able to win. If he doesn't, he's going to get put to sleep. put Steve in a bad way. Hey, Max Holloway is still a legend, but I get what you're. No, I'm not disrespecting Max Holloway. Be clear, I'm not doing that. But it's the reality, especially over the last couple fights that we've seen with Max. He's just gone down. He's just gone down. Father Time is still undefeated, save for LeBron. And even then, right now, he's catching up, playing. He neck and neck with Braun right now. But it's Father Time. It'll get you at some point. And Max Holloway at this point just is, the downtrend is starting to happen. It's starting to happen. That's not a knock. He's still a legend, absolutely. To be fair, Anderson's loss wasn't that bad for his age. He was 40. Was he like 48? He was 48. Going against somebody who at that point in time had trained in boxing for 5 years. Once again, Anderson had really been put his best foot forward, but again, age. That's why I said if he was starting his career, it wouldn't have been a contest. Let me see. Hey, Tom Aspinall took his vision to go to boxing. His dad made it clear that Tom would go in professional boxing after 2 to 4 fights. Do you think Aspinall even has a chance? No, he doesn't. No, stop. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He does not. Tom Aspinall does not have the chance in boxing. Ilya Tapore's got a better shot at being able to translate than Tom Aspinall does in boxing. There's no way. There's no, and this isn't me saying this because I'm trying to hate on Tom Aspinall. This isn't me saying this because I'm trying to dog on the eye injuries that he had. That it's like, oh, hey man, where aren't you fighting? You got on, was it John Jones for his own injuries that he was having, or something with other people that had injuries that they weren't fighting, and you were saying, hey man, that's a disgrace. You should be in the ring, and now you got an injury, and you saying, hey man, I can't fight. Some people hold that as hypocrisy. Now I don't, because he is injured, but even still, some people hold that against him. I'm not. I'm telling you right now, Aspinall would get destroyed. Aspinall would get destroyed in boxing. Aspinall doesn't, with the reason why I say this is because Aspinall and most UFC fighters, save a few, they're not built on the stamina foundation of boxing. So whatever they learn would indeed fall by the wayside to where there's no chance you can compete. None. Anderson Silva transitioning like he did at that age is an anomaly. Conor McGregor doing what he did against Floyd Mayweather. Even though Floyd stuck to his word and said, like he told Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to go through, I'm going to carry him for 5 rounds, then I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to get him out there in about round 7. And he did just that, round 7 to 9. He did just that. But even still, McGregor was indeed actually performing pretty well. That's an anomaly. Because most people can't even sustain what they need to be as a fighter in boxing for that long coming out of the UFC because they're not built for that type of energy consumption. They're not used to what this stamina game is compared to the UFC. It's not the same. It's not. That's not a knock. They're two different sports. One's not better than the other. They're two different sports entirely. Conor McGregor was gassing out at round 5. Or excuse me, round 6. He was sucking winning round 6. Halfway through the fight. And his brother was in shape. And he was getting winded. And it wasn't because he can't fight. He wasn't built for it. That type of stamina game. Tom Aspinall showed up, and most heavyweights at the UFC level showed enough they can't go that far. Sure enough, they can't go that far. Shoot, man, I'll tell you what. It's bad. Heavyweight division stamina, I'm not saying it's great, but it ain't that bad. From a boxing perspective, it ain't that bad. What Aspinall would be, that would be. And then defensively, he would get pieced up. If Cyril Gahn gave him, and before the stoppage, was giving him that type of work offensively on the feet, Brother, with speed alone. Not even heavy shots, just good shots, timing shots. Unique offense. And elusive ability. But what do you think the likes of Ajay Caballero is going to do? What do you think a Big Bang Zhang's going to do? Who, regardless, if you want to say that the stamina game, which is the same, okay, fine. Big Bang Zhang versus Tom Aspinall. He still got better at stamina, and that brother will catch and parry everything that we see Aspinall throw and then put him to sleep. Put him to sleep. He'll put him to sleep. He would. Let me see. Yeah, Usyk would take Tom down. He would take a lot of people down. He's taking everybody down. There is no fighter. Usyk and a lot of the heavyweights would take other UFC heavyweights down. This isn't a knock. It's just because it's a different sport. It's a different sport. Tom would get dropped easy in boxing. He would. Not again. This is not me saying that boxing is just better than the UFC. What they both connotate, they aren't built for. Clarissa Shields transitioning to the UFC, working on ground and pound, learning how to defend takedowns and guarding against kicks is something that is an anomaly. James Toney went to the UFC and said, hey man, these folks can't box. I'm going to go through and I'm going to walk through this division. At heavyweight right now, I'm going to walk through anything in the UFC. Why? Because y'all can't do nothing with me. Y'all can't do nothing with me. That brother got taken down and got beaten in a round. Couldn't land a shot. Why? Because he didn't know how to fight in their domain. It's not the same. It ain't the same. It ain't the same at all. Tom, yeah, so he would get beat. Beat the Kingdom Come. No, not disrespect, just the truth. It is the truth in the matter. But I think we're going to wrap this show up and get it out of here so we can make sure we can save our voice and make sure we can prep for tomorrow. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. I promise you. Big day tomorrow because a lot of fights and a lot of talk because we're going to be talking a lot. We're going to be streaming the fight and doing a live show. Come tomorrow afternoon and at night. So be here at 8 o'clock and be here at 12:15. Same time, same place, same channel for another episode of The Welch Report and another live stream commentary. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Let me see if Tom and Cyril Gane had a boxing match. I got Gane. I do too. Absolutely. But we'll talk about that later on in the show because we got to go and get on out of here. And we got to go and work on tomorrow. So with all that being said, yes, indeed, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We appreciate all of you tuning in and listening to this incredible show on this incredible day. Thank you to everybody who came and joined in on the live, everybody who supported on stream and who chatted, and then hopefully you left a like on the video. It means the world to me. Absolutely. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We made your day a little bit brighter and made it go a little bit faster and made it a little bit better for your viewing and listening pleasure. We're available on every podcasting platform imaginable, so rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Also be sure to go and hit the like button so it helps the channel, it helps the video to go and get pressed to all the masses around the globe. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the notification bell and be sure to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together and be sure that we can keep on growing and thriving as a community. If you want to support the channel, we got Cash App and PayPal links down below in the subscription, as well as super chats, super gifts, thanks, and all that stuff. Helps us to pay the bills, helps us to keep the lights on, it helps us to be able to go and invest back into the show to make it bigger, better, and grander, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. Again, thank you everybody who tuned in, thank everybody who listened, thank everybody who chatted and commented. Tell me what you liked or didn't like about the channel so we can make it better for the next time out. And we're going to see you all tomorrow. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have a wonderful peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Friday for the show and for the fight that we're going to be live streaming tonight at 8 o'clock as well. So be safe, be blessed, peace, and love. We out of here.